Good evening. Welcome to NUFC Matters with Steve Wraith, and welcome to George, to Darren and Lord Vader. It's semi-final night, first leg, and unchanged team is the first thing to talk about. Nick Pope, Kieran Trippier, captain in the team, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, Dan Burn, Bruno, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, Miggy Almiron, Joe Linton, Callum Wilson on the bench. Darlow, Lascelles, ASM, Ritchie, Lewis, Isaac, Manquillo, Murphy, and Anderson. As for the home team, they line up like this: Bazunu, Walker Peters, Lyanco, Kaleta Carr, Salisu, Diallo, Alcaraz, Ward-Prowse captain them, De Janepo, Orzic, and Mara. Must be a Macam him, is he? Mara? And on the bench, a familiar face in young Armstrong, but Newcastle United in their first semi-final for many a year, and thanks for joining us to enjoy it. And some of us are lucky enough to be down there. Just got this video through from John. Steve Hasty looking a bit thoughtful there, or is he looking for dogs and lookalikes? I'm not sure. But good to see the lads down there. That was the only video I expected to get, to be honest. They've had a fair bit to drink, I think, on their way down and on their way to the ground. So best of luck to them. Let's hope to bring the result back. But unchanged team, George, happy with that?
Yeah, very. Makes sense. Don't rock the boat. You know, we've got a system and a team that's working. So the last thing you do is upset the apple cart and do attempt changes that aren't necessary or going to make any difference. And I can't see, unless he found a space for ESM or somebody like that, I couldn't see any other change that could do anything to change the way we play. And he's got plenty of time to do that if we need to. So I'm delighted with an unchanged team. I've got to say, with it being semi-final, I've been quite nervous all day today. And I don't know, the last time I felt like this was when we went to Old Trafford to play Spurs in the semi-final. I had that same sort of feeling because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And now that I've seen their team, well, I'm delighted. I mean, the young Armstrong is in the team. I find that odd because he played very well last week and the week before. Armstrong, Shea Evans isn't in the team either, or he's, and I regard him as quite dangerous. So I'm quite happy with what they have done. Peters is a dangerous lad when I've seen him on the telly, and the captain is, of course, we know all about from dead balls. But no, I see nothing in that team to worry us too much, and unchanged teams should handle it.
Okay, what's your take on this then, Vince? Unchanged team. I mean, Eddie Howe in the interview prior to the game, was asked, is there any changes you could have made due to the fact you haven't been scoring as many goals? He says, well, of course, we've got a good squad. We can look at it, but, we felt that there's a week's break between this game and our next game. The lads can give 100% and, have time to recuperate and rest after the game. So there was no thought in his mind of making any changes.
No, and I don't see why not either. Like, says, I mean, they're saying, lack of goals. We're creating the chances. We're just not finishing them. We are getting, we're getting there, the creating chances and that. So, I can't see why change it. This is the same team before January was scoring the goals and all that. So, it's like, says, other teams are having blips, like losing games. I hope this is our little blip where we just haven't scored enough goals, but then we'll carry on. I think we'll find it. We do, like, says, the way this team work and the way they'll find a way, and they do. They'll just find a way. And I'm like there's no point in changing it. It's what I want to see. You want to see a strong side semi-final, get to the final, and that's what you want to see. Yeah.
Put the heating on, says Kenny. To you, Vince. I think you're just wearing your hat with pride, aren't you?
I can't afford it, man, lads. Come on.
Barry, good evening, mate. Presume
Hello,
you've seen
mate.
the team unchanged. We've come to expect this now, haven't we?
I think that's it. I think there was all the comments about Isaac replacing Wilson, and I think Isaac, for me, yes, he's getting there and he's going to be a big part of the future. But I think for this game in particular, just give Wilson the shout straight away. It's good to see it's a full strength side. I know there was a lot of people complaining saying the SM should start. Why? You know what I mean? He hasn't done anything outstanding to get ahead of the guys who have been picked. So fingers crossed they'll do it tonight. I think it's like you said, Steve, the Southampton team isn't quite full strength anyway. So fingers crossed. I've just been desperately trying to find a stream to watch it on because I got rid of my Sky subscription when we weren't doing very well and haven't gotten around to getting it back yet. So I'll be hopefully watching it on some Mickey Mouse stream down the side here.
I'm sure you'll get it at some point. Darren, good evening. And yeah, unchanged team. As I say, we're used to seeing this now with Eddie Howe. And why not? The team that's 15 games unbeaten and unbeaten in this competition, of course, deserve that opportunity, don't they?
Yeah, that's totally right, Steve. Like George hit the nail on the head. Why not? Don't break something what's not broken, and you play your full strength team in a semi-final of the cup. And they must have been listening to your program last night, Steve, because you got Shea Gibbon and Leslie Ferdinand. Two Newcastle fans, proper fans, son. You know what I mean? So they must have been listening to your program yesterday, Sky.
Yeah, we did have a bit of a rant about that last night on the fans forum, and I've got to be honest. Like, I'm delighted to see that it's not Kieran Dyer and Jermaine Jenis standing alongside Francis Bernali and the lads down there. But it's been a good build-up as well. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be able to see most of it today, and from Keith Downey and the guys at Sky getting down there early on, and just the atmosphere building up really from mid-afternoon, and then the teams arriving, etc. It's it's got the real feel of a semi-final. It's all very exciting. I've exchanged text messages with a few of my mates who are Southampton fans, and all been very civil. I'm not sure it'll be civil at 10 o'clock tonight, but Sky at the moment showing some of the miserable times that we've had when I've been down there. Matt Letizia, of course, a thorn in Newcastle United's side when we played them down there in October 1993 in that old blue strip when Andy Cole was in his pomp scoring that wonderful header. But Matt Letizia just scored two absolute belters in that particular game. And, nothing you can do against a top-class player like that. Let's hope we don't.
He seemed to save them up for us, didn't he?
Every time.
Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt about it. But let's not forget that from a Newcastle United perspective, our last trip down to Southampton was in the Premier League, and it was a 4-1 win. And Bruno also has a bit of a lucky team in Southampton, doesn't he? Because he scored his first goal, George, and of course scored there earlier in the season.
That's right. And it was some goal it was as well. I mean, it was instinctive finishing. It was a goal that a natural finisher would score, not somebody from midfield normally. And that give you an idea where his football brain was. That was, it was absolutely brilliant. So, if all the pointers about confidence and where we're going and what we're doing are all in our direction, in my view, and we should somebody put it on the screen at the bottom there before. Forget about it being a cup final. Just go and enjoy the game, and that's absolutely right. That's what we're talking about last night.
Play a normal game.
Just have a go and play the game that we know we can play. And I don't think we'll have any issues at all. I think it'll be straightforward. And I look forward to them getting the 2-0 win our forecast.
Yeah, Vin, I mean, Bruno on his social media said we'll be treating this like a cup final. He says we'll not be taking this, lightly. It's a big game for us. We know it's a semi-final, but we'll be treating this like a final. So, the right kind of attitude from the lads, isn't it, as well?
And it is, and it's always led by Eddie Howe. It's always led from him. Yeah. He always says the right thing, comes to the, like he says, it's always like saying some people would say like he was being interviewed saying, I'm trying to keep it down and all, but he's saying no, I want the fans to hope, I want them to dream, I want them to go on, and we want to try and do that for them. And and he leads it, and then the players are there with him. The attitude is just, well, we've seen it all the time, and how it's just there. They want to fight. They fight in battle every game, and you see it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm like George. I think they're really going to take this seriously, and they'll want it more than Southampton, I think.
Yeah, Donald, good evening, mate. Unchanged team, you happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, full strength side. We should have enough in our armory there to really give Southampton some trouble. And just as a little story on, the footage of Matt Letizia there, I remember watching that game when I first came back from university. It was me and my father were watching that game in the pub during the old hours. It was a lock-in. I watched it during a lock-in. That's how I never forget that game. But I know it was But yeah,
the last people the chance to use Anthony Gordon. And
yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one today. I mean, it looks very, very likely that Anthony Gordon will come to Newcastle, which, it looked as if all bets were off and he was going to go to Chelsea. But according to some of the news outlets today, then Anthony Gordon fancies the move north, and that would be a decent acquisition. I know, again, on social media, it seems to have split a few opinions, but, people judging the kid on performances that we've had against him in the past. Well, he's playing for a team. He's showing pride and doing what he does, for his team, when he's playing in the blue of Everton. But for me, he's 21-year-old, he's raw talent that can be honed by Eddie Howe. I genuinely think that if that's our signing in the forward area, then it's something a bit different as well. Certainly different to Chris Wood anyway, Darren.
Yeah, he play up front, on the left, on the right. So which is by Church, he can play. He's quite good, He's more what's the word I'm looking for?
He's creative. He's a creative, and he's attack-minded. And he can play anywhere across the front, can't he?
Yeah, and like you say, Steve, he's 21-year-old under the Howe. You probably get better. So you've got to give him a chance. You've got to give him a chance and see how he does. But and Everton needs the money. They need the money. They've got any money at all. So apparently they're desperate to have money just to get a striker in. But they need money. Everton apparently ASAP.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the teams are on the pitch and just going through the pre-match rituals, and Newcastle United playing in the same strip as they had when they won down there 4-1 earlier in the season. And as I say, lining up like this, if you've just tuned in, it's an unchanged team for Eddie Howe's boys. And Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, Dan Burn, Bruno, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, Miggy Almiron, Joe Linton and Callum Wilson. And then on the bench, Darlow Lascelles, ASM, Richie, Lewis, Isaac, Manquillo, Murphy and Anderson. And Sky at the moment focusing on Kyle Walker-Peters. Started at left back in his last 3 games for Southampton. A lot of focus seemed to be on him and what he can do in this game. But it's going to be interesting. This isn't going to be a formality. Let's just remind ourselves of what the lads' predictions are. George, you were going 2-0 to Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely.
Darren?
1-0 for me.
Same as me, 1-0. And you, Vince?
2-0, like George, yeah.
And Dunno?
Yeah, 2-0 for me as well.
And Barry?
2-0.
2-0. Okay, so getting ready to kick off. Let's just go around. Let's go around the board though and talk a little bit about this lad. And Gordon is, as I say, it's one that's split an opinion. George, what's your take on Gordon potentially coming to Newcastle?
Well, it unfortunately, the sort of publicity he's had, it was inevitable it would split opinion. However, if he's looked and his agent have sat and looked at what's on offer, and they've seen the madness that's going on at Chelsea, because that's what's happening at Chelsea. Does he want to go to Chelsea where they're bringing all these huge superstars in on 10-year deals and all that daft stuff? No, if he's got half a brain, he'll come to a project that's going forward with the positivity that ours is, and joining a fairly young squad that he can be part of for a very long time if he signs a long contract with us. So, no, I think it does. It makes sense for us because of his age and what Eddie Howe can do with him. Not surprised that it split opinion though, because for a while you couldn't see Sky without them showing a picture of him diving somewhere. Now that's for me that's a no-no. That's one of the things I detest in football, trying to get somebody into trouble by throwing yourself to the ground. But it happens in nearly every match now. And he was being accused of that all the time. Well, that was inevitable. That would make people think twice. But for me, with who we've got in charge, they'll have done their homework about Anthony Gordon, about what he's like off the field, what sort of intelligence he's got, and I'm happy that he's coming. That would be great.
All right, Newcastle United have kicked off just half a minute into the game. Newcastle on the offensive already. Kieran Trippier with a throw in. Over the course of the next 8 or 9 days, though, this has to be the deals have to be done. I mean, it's actually going to be the close of the transfer window when we play the second leg of this game. So you would imagine, Darren, that Eddie Howe's going to want any business sorted out before then.
Yeah, I think you want it done by no later on Monday, because you got a game on the Tuesday. So I don't know how true is Doro's meant to be going somewhere else. Meant to be in some young player. I don't know what I've heard. Forrest put a late inquiry for ESM today, and Newcastle went no. Don't know how true that is. That's what I've heard. So I think anyhow, all business done by Monday, no later.
Yeah, certainly a lot of rumours flying in. Miguel Almiron's flying up that right-hand side. It's 2-on-2.
Go on.
Joe Linton's into the middle. We've got somebody out wide left, and it's Joe Willock who hits a ball over the bar. 6 points to Wigan, I think it's what we used to say. It wasn't just over the bar. It was probably cleared the stand, and it's probably lying somewhere near Harry Kane's ball and Chris Wood's ball from the England game and Sheffield Wednesday games, respectively. Vince, it's again, Anthony Gordon. I mean, for me, I would love to see somebody in a black and white shirt who's again an improvement of what we've got or had in that area, and I think he would. I certainly think he would fit Newcastle's Newcastle's style of play.
No, yeah, and there's also you've got Howe there who works with players. Look what he's done to Joe Linton and all them as well. So this lad is going to come here, and again, he's a young lad, and Howe can mould him. And George says, the diving and that has to go, and Howe will not be having any of that. But Howe will mould him, and I think it's good. I know people whinged a bit about him that, but you've got to look we've got to move on that, and I think he'd be a good acquisition, really. Give with that option up front for somewhere when coming in and all that. So definitely, I've got no qualms with it. But and especially with Howe as a manager, he works with players and that. I absolutely believe in him 100%. Yeah.
Oh! Newcastle United should have been 1-0 up.
In the box.
First 3 minutes of the game, Newcastle have never left the Southampton half. It is El Alamo at the moment in time. You'd think Newcastle were the home team here, but that was a great bit of play. Longstaff put a delightful ball in after the ball had ricocheted from a Trippier shot, Bruno shot. The ball was then laid by Bruno to Longstaff, who passed the ball across the 6-yard area in front of the goalkeeper, and not one person was there to take the ball away. No anticipation at all from Wilson, although, to be fair, he was probably well covered by at least 3 bodies. Maybe he didn't see it, but should have still anticipated. But that was a golden opportunity for Newcastle. Should have been 1-0 up, really, if they'd taken that chance. Dunno. Anthony Gordon, what's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, plus point the fact he's versatile. And, I mean, how long has it been since we had a handful of players who could play in multiple positions instead of just being, constrained to sort of one position? Bruno can play a 6 and an 8. Joe Linton can play a wide forward or in the middle of the park. And as the lads have just said there, is the black mark reader diving, that'll get knocked out of him by it. And Eddie Howe can show what a good coach he is by taking him up a couple of levels. So, I mean, he's young. He'll be hungry. You'd rather he was on our side than the opposition side.
Yeah, it was a late challenge there by Mara on Shaw. Clipped his knee. Looked fairly innocuous, like, to be honest. I've seen Fabian Shaw get up from worse, but we'll keep an eye on this and see. He is on the ground. He's holding his knee. Physio's on.
Not to take a player to say it down, is he?
No, well, he's not holding his knee now. He's lying back. Jamal Lascelles is warming up.
That's a scary thing, that, mind you.
Surely just a precaution. That Barry Anthony, yeah, he's stretching the knee. There doesn't seem to be any serious damage. It hasn't come up in a lump, but we see Eddie Howe is just double checking here and talking with one of his coaches. They just seem to be looking at an iPad, pointing at a notepad. So not sure whether they're looking at a potential change or whether they're looking at something that they've noticed in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. 0-0 anyway in this semi-final first leg. Possibly looking at the effect that some of the players are having. We're just watching the challenge again here, and Mara comes in. Not as bad as I thought, to be honest, from that angle. The other angle looked a little bit more naughty. But to be honest, he went in with his foot high. It was more of a collision of legs. Shaw's back on his feet, gingerly walking towards the sideline as the physio chats to the guys online on the radio. I think we're going to be okay. Shaw is bending his knee. He looks fine. I think he'll be straight back on. He's hard as goat's knees, this bloke. Yeah.
I think it's just one of them. Sometimes you get a shock. Like this with your leg doesn't move in the right way. And I think it's one of them where his leg he's went down, kept straight and just eased it off.
All good. Shaw's back on. No problem. I'll be feeling a little bit with a cold as well. Barry, Anthony Gordon.
It's a hard one. I mean, I reiterate what George said before, that the guy, I mean, the most I've seen him is obviously on the highlights, plus the last game against us, and the guy was diving. Every opportunity he got, he was trying to get a free kick. And not only was he diving, he was twisting his face when he didn't get the reaction that he wanted from the referee. And I know he's a young kid. I know he's probably got a lot to learn, but is that the sort of player you want at the club? You know what I mean? He hasn't had a great season. He's been in and out of their team. He's hardly played this season. I don't know, Steve. I mean, they keep mentioning Thuram, Lilian Thuram's son. I can't remember his first name. And I just think he looks a class act, and he would cost us a fraction of the price of him. You know what I mean? Of Gordon, he wouldn't come anywhere near.
The fee that we're being quoted by the media is 40 million, isn't it, for Gordon, Barry?
But then the news sort of late on this afternoon was that I don't know if it's Chelsea talking about bidding for him, but they're prepared to loan him back to Everton for the rest of the season. And Everton has supposedly asked us about that, and we said there's no way we're doing that. So you think, is that what Everton is trying to get out of it? They're trying to get the money plus the player till the end of this year.
Yeah.
And you think
probably
if that's the case, it's pushing us back in the pecking order straight away. He's a good player, but I suppose you said it all before, trusting Howe, that Howe can take players like that and he can get that side of him out of the game and just concentrate on his good bits. But I would be a bit concerned just by his behaviour and everything else he's shown.
Yeah, it's, as I say, it's one that splits opinions. We don't know what's going on. He wasn't at training at Everton today. I mean, we're not sure why. Is that something to do with, advanced talks? The way that Sky were reporting it at one stage, just said there's a long way to go. There's negotiations being opened up between the two clubs. But maybe that's as far as it goes. And, again, we spoke about this yesterday and I spoke about it on the Professionals on Sunday, but could be a smokescreen as well. We do know that Newcastle have got a big interest in Maddison, for example, and there is still a potential of that deal being done. So never ever count off a big deal being done. Newcastle obviously will have players who can go out as well. And again, I didn't hear that story about ESM that Darren's just mentioned, but
I don't know how true. I just have.
That's been on again this afternoon.
I think I've seen something about it, but I wasn't too sure.
Steve, does anybody know anything about the other guy from Everton? We're also being linked with the central defensive midfield. I've never heard of it mentioned two players. I can't remember the guy's name now, but it was Onana.
Onana.
Yes. Is he any good? I'm not sure what he's like.
I've not really seen much of him, to be honest. And again, you were saying about Everton, Barry, and saying that Gordon hasn't had such a good season, but Everton haven't had a good season, have they?
Yeah.
They've been woeful, really. Hence the reason that Lampard's lost his job. Southampton, I'm just going to break off Southampton on the attack, but as always, Newcastle United defending in numbers, and Sean Longstaff again doing the graft, getting back and winning back possession for Newcastle United. One thing I will say tonight is Southampton are sticking the foot in, leaving the foot in on our players. Another bad challenge there on Almiron, I think it is, from Orsic, and just a bit of gesticulating there from Almiron. Not happy he didn't get a free kick. But yeah, look, it's still 0-0, 10 minutes in. Both teams finding out enough about of each other. So let's see. Best, says Cartman.
What I will say, Steve, Anthony Gordon, he's been a poor manager, poor coach, for the last year, definitely. Under Eddie, like the lad says, he will get better and then massively improve. Lampard's a poor manager, and that's my opinion, and I'll stand by that. He'll be on better coaching.
Yeah, long ball. Then Wilson was chasing it down. Goalkeeper was quick off his line to sniff it out, and still 0-0 as we come up to the 11th minute. Few empty seats there tonight, George. I know you probably haven't got your eyes on the game, but that's disappointing, isn't it? That's disappointing, George, for a semi-final.
Extremely, and it says a lot about them more than it does about us. I've got to say, there'll be no empty seats in the way end, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it is disappointing. I mean. We already know that the second leg, and we don't know the result of this leg yet, is already sold out for next week. And they've got empty seats. I think that's sad. It may be that some of their fans have already resigned them to relegation. I don't know. It doesn't augur well for them if they've got empty seats in a game like this.
Newcastle United back in the Southampton area again there, but again, just maybe sometimes a little bit of overplaying from Newcastle at times. Trying to walk the ball in instead of having that instinctive finish. And Wilson again, could have had a shot there. Longstaff down on the ground now. I'm not sure what the situation is. He seems okay.
It's nearly VAR, is it, Steve? Is it? Is it VAR in semi-finals?
Yes.
There is.
It is.
Yeah, there is. That was another bad challenge by, I think that was Mara there again. And he's just left his foot in on Longstaff. Now, Longstaff isn't injured or anything like that. He's just standing up, but not happy he didn't get the free kick. Yeah, there's a ball crossed in by Willock. Looking at it again, Wilson chested it down, tried to bring it down, and that was it. It's a penalty that Longstaff was looking for there after the foot was left in. Another naughty challenge by Southampton. This time on Wilson.
The foot right in on it.
Yeah, out well outside the box here. Kieran Trippier patting the referee on the back as he stands over the free kick. Wilson gets up and just nods and gets on with it. One thing for certain, if you're going to take Newcastle on in this particular way, let's face it, you're going to get it back in abundance. Anyway, a little hand signal there. Don't know whether anyone saw that from Eddie Howe. I've got no idea what that meant. Anyway, but Kieran Trippier takes the free kick short, passes it to Bruno. Bruno chips the ball in to the back post to Botman, who was arriving. He turns, clips the ball in. Ball comes back to Willock on the 18-yard area. Newcastle getting pushed back by the Southampton rear guard, but the ball's thrown into the mixer, and unfortunately, it is cleared. Free kick the other way this time. Southampton with a free kick. After Diallo went down under a challenge. So 14 minutes nearly played. Southampton 0, Newcastle 0. Certainly Newcastle dominating this game, I would say, and not looking out of sorts at all at the moment. But still, this team put out Manchester City. We've got to be very, very wary of them in this game, if not both games. But George, it's great just to be in a semi-final, and just listening to Bruno's interview before the game today, getting a bit of an indication as to how he feels about his time on Tyneside, and it's interesting to hear him being asked, why Newcastle, and where were you when you were asked about the move to Newcastle. He said, well, I was actually traveling to play for the national team, and he said it was a big decision to make, and I wasn't sure. He says, but I asked my wife, and she said it's up to you. So he knew a little bit about Newcastle, and he just took a gamble. But he says it's a gamble I'm pleased I've taken, and very happy here, and he's certainly settled in very, very well, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Long staff, man.
He's a complete professional in many, many ways. And I think what I like about it is his off the field attitude is spot on. I really was impressed the fact that he recovered so quickly after that nasty ankle turn the other day, because people were talking about 2 or 3 weeks off, and yet here he was ready for the next game. Now, yes, that's the medical staff, but he would be told when he went home, you do this, you don't do that, you do this, you do the other, put ice on this and put ice on that. And he's obviously done it all. Otherwise, he would never have got back in the team as quick as that. So, no, he impresses me greatly. And you can see when he's on the field and off the field, he's enjoying every minute. He's lapping it up. And I suspect he's realised he's done the right thing. He's now he's the big fish in the pond. He's not joined a team with a lot of big fish where he's only a little fish. He's one of the big fish, and he's enjoying every minute of it. And it's clear that the gel together, he's just a good professional in my estimation, and I'm delighted he's ours.
Yeah, Longstaff teamed up well there with Trippier, whipped the ball in. It just flew over the top of Willock. Should have been a goal. Touches in the opposition's box. Bit telling this. Southampton 1, Newcastle 11. So it tells you which way this game's going. Same as the Crystal Palace game. Everything is Newcastle. Everything is black and white at the moment. Let's hope that continues. Darren Bruno. His recovery rate's fantastic, isn't it? We expected to be without him for this game, for the next game, but he was straight back in, and looked like he'd never been away against Crystal Palace. And he started off in the same vein tonight.
It's just the next generation of young players who are hungry, wanting to play. Do you know what I mean? He loves playing football. I mean, like you say, the video, even his dad loves it up here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. With the Newcastle fans, he gets his picture talk with him. Well, the Newcastle fans is quite good, but just he wanted to play. He was crying and devastated going up the pitch. And that's great to see passion. That's what you want to see. That's why the Newcastle fans took them so much. It's just love to see a player wanting to play all the time.
Yeah, Vince. He's certainly one of those players that captures the imagination. He's the kind of player that Newcastle fans love to see in a black and white shirt. And I think the question was asked last season on this show, is he as good as Ginola? Is he as good as Lauren Robert? Is he as good as, Ben Arthur and players like that? He's quickly becoming a cult hero now, isn't he?
Oh, Spen bottom goal, yeah, from the corner. Come on, Spen, he's dual goal.
Yeah, corner to Newcastle. But go on, Vince, while we're waiting.
Okay. Totally. And in fact, I think you're talking about all attackers there. Bruno is defends and attacks. So already he does something that they didn't do. You know what I mean? He's a more rounded player already. He's done them and that. It's just what he gives and he gives his all. Like you say, off the pitch and that is just brilliant. I mean, him and his lass were talking, and then even she says, she was talking. She says the people in France says they were all right, but they says they come here and they've never felt the love more and all that. And Bruno saying he's proud to be a Geordie, and it's just great. Just hear that from one of your own players and that. And just he's amazing. He's going to quickly become like a hero, and you can see. Because everything he does, I mean, he was that upset when he got injured, and you can see that, and that's what you it's not nice to see, but that's what you want to see. You want to see how these players believe he just wanted so much, and that made you see it, and you go, and he's upset because he wants to play, he wants to be there, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, at Dunel, we saw the passion as well when he went for that throw in and he's whipping the crowd up. He loves the crowd and he loves the crowd's involvement, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's only been here just over a year now. He's what you could say. He gets it. He gets us. He gets the fans. He gets the club. He gets what the club means to the city as a whole. And that's, you know, a big plus from me. And as the lads have already said, he offers so much more than those others that you mentioned earlier, Ginola, Ben Arthur.
What about Bruno's son? God,
yeah, we'll just cut Donald short there, just
Oh,
as Sean Longstaff gets the ball, knocks it back to Almiron. Almiron to Bruno. Almiron's in and easily gathered by the Southampton goalkeeper, who does a little bit of play acting. He's not injured at all. But Newcastle dominating in this first 20 minutes, still 0-0. Southampton know they're in a game here tonight. Go on, Donald, just finish off what you were saying about Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno. I mean, as you say, he's only been here, what he got last January? He's been here, a year now?
Yeah.
And he's, you know, he's quickly become a fan favourite. And he's a versatile player. He'll do a job as a CDM, but at the same time, he'll also do that job as the further forward number 8. And we haven't had one of those midfielders ever, have we? Who can do both, who can do a couple of jobs. So, you know, long may he stay here, and I hope he wins lots while he's with us. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, Barry, he's, I think, apart from becoming a bit of a cult hero and potentially going on to be a legend of the club, I think what I've gathered from what the rest of the lads says is he's going to join that little band of players such as Pavel Srnicek, Tino Asprilla, Nobby Solano, you know, foreign players who came from a different country, a different culture, but who, you know, became adopted Geordies.
It's the way that, obviously, from our time, that Albert took to it. You know, Philip Albert's first season, he got it. He got the fans. He got the attitude. The supporters got behind him straight away. I think Bruno, for me, has got the ability and the charisma to go on to be like a Robert Lee or even possibly Beardsley, depending on how long he stays there for. He's got that bit of magic, but he's got the passion for the club as well. I mean, obviously you guys were talking about the injury. I was thinking, you know, if it had been ASM who'd gotten injured like that, he would have been out for 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. Bruno was like turned around within a couple of days and he was back in training. It just, that says mountains about the guy, you know what I mean? It, for me, God forbid it happens anytime soon, but when Trippier does hopefully take over coaching and they're looking for somebody to take over the captaincy, I'll give it to Bruno. I think he just gets it. He gets the whole thing about Newcastle United. I just hope we can keep him. You know, we can build. I'm sure we will, but we can build a team around him that's going to challenge for the places he wants to go. Yeah.
Sky's camera is just focusing into the stands, and great to see Alan Shearer sitting behind Mia, Dad, and Amanda in the director's box. I'm sure nobody will object. Alan pulling in a favour from both of his old clubs. To go along to this semi-final. Absolutely brilliant to see that. And let's hope we see a bit more of him at St James's Park as well in the coming years. Newcastle United then, 22 minutes in, nearly 23 minutes on the clock now. Southampton 0, Newcastle United 0 in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. And just go through some of the stats just to give you an idea of where we're at in this. Well, possession, it's a bit closer than it was against Crystal Palace. Newcastle have got 58% possession to Southampton's 42. 106 passes from Newcastle, 81 for Southampton. No real chances, clear-cut chances. Total shots, though, 2-1 for Newcastle. And no goalkeeper really called into action. But Newcastle certainly dominating this game. Percentage-wise, might not say that as far as possession, but certainly more attacking coming in from Newcastle. They certainly look as if they are the home team as opposed to Southampton. But I mean, we've all made predictions for a win. I think so far, I think we've been right, George. It is a tight start to this game, and it's a semi-final. You don't get easy games in a semi-final, George. Really. No.
Not if the other side's up for it. It shouldn't be an easy game. But I mean, what they got to lose, that sitting bottom of the league, it could do them a whole power of good to get a result in this match. So yeah, it was never going to be easy. I think my prediction 2-0 wasn't based on it being easy, but based on how we'll wear them down. And I think those 2 goals will come in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just a tough game, isn't it, Darren? It's not going to be easy. And when you're scrapping down at the bottom, Newcastle know only too well from last season. You try to pick yourselves up, but I took a little bit of hope in the fact that they lost their game at the weekend. Southampton, they're not coming into this game on a high.
Yeah, like you said, the need the turn want morale with them losing on Saturdays, knock morale off them, and the league's more important. To be brutally honest, they'll tell you that. It's a nice distraction for them, but like a bit try to win the day, but they need a bit morale in the camp, and they're not getting the day, but they're doing all right. They're giving the game at least, but they're not a great team. The league doesn't lie. The chairman, they've never spent any proper money for the last 2 years. They've sent a lot of players, but they haven't got any players in, and they say it's run bad, the club. But they've got the morale in the club. That's quite obvious thing, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, they beat Man City in the last round, of course, Vin, and that's that's the thing that makes them a dangerous opposition. The rest of that cup run was fairly easy, but beating Man City in the quarters was the big pointer for us that this was going to be a difficult game. Vin.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, that's it. Man City's no mugs. Even they played a slightly weaker team, but they're still a good team. They played against them and that, and yeah, they managed to beat them. So yeah, we've got to take these seriously, but still just do what we do. Just keep our confidence, and that's what we're doing. We're keeping the ball. We're trying to do it the right way. But I agree with you about they seem to be trying that walking in and that. And the one thing I've been a bit disappointed by, nobody's willing to have a shot from outside the box to have a go. Because that's what you need. Get it on the keeper and let Wilson close down on the keeper, like Mayman Pomway. But you don't seem to get that. Like it says, it seems to be trying to walk it in when you don't have. Have a go. You know what I mean? But that's the one thing for me. Them a bit that they just need a bit more of. But they're doing fine. I think they're taking them seriously. And what you're seeing is obviously just want to dominate any mistakes. First half, I think they'll keep it together, but then you'll see the second half, we seem to just come out straight away and get them. I think that's where we'll get, like George says, we'll wear them down, and that's where we'll get the 2 goals from.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Donald, what's your take so far? Have you managed to find a stream?
Yeah, I found a stream. I'm probably slightly behind you. I'm on 26. 15 or 16.
Yeah, you're only a minute behind. But it was always going to be a tough game, wasn't it? What have you made of Southampton so far?
Southampton, I've made it difficult for us, really.
Oh, referee, Howie!
They've made it difficult for us. They're not going to lie down and say, do come in, help yourself with some goals, are they? They'll want to get to Wembley as well as us, and they'll give it their all. But as I say, I think, just need to maybe, as Vince alluded to, have a couple of long range, sting the keeper's palms a bit, and instead of trying to over elaborate.
You might have heard Darren going mental there. Again, another horrendous challenge from Coletta Carr this time, who wiped out Almiron in full flow, giving Newcastle a free kick on the right-hand side on the edge of the 18-yard area. Almiron's okay, smiling, grimacing. Tell us, I'm not sure what you would describe it as, but he's okay. His leg's still on. The physio is on, coming on with the magic sponge and the spray. The referee's putting his spray down where he wants the free kick taken from. And Southampton are getting time to regroup. Trippier's got the ball in his hand, walking towards Almiron, who will slowly get up and continue. Fabian Shaw stand next to him as well. He's fine after his bad challenge earlier on. Miggy is grimacing a little bit, but he's getting the hand up from the physio, and he will be.
At least the ref's finally got a call out, like.
Yeah, he'll be fit. He will be fit to resume. There was a yellow card there as well for Coletta Carr. He was booked, so referee has taken his name. Okay, we'll stay with this free kick before we.
That should be a red. That is. You watch it slow.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was.
No one took the player the ball. Took the player out.
Could have been
Exactly.
nasty. Studs up, says Les. You're right, Les. Okay, Trippier with a free kick. Two-man wall stand inside the box. Let's hope Newcastle can do something with this. We've got plenty.
Botman's dual goal in that. Botman is dual goal.
We've got plenty big lads. Boxes full of them. Here we go. He's pointing to the left. Free kick comes in. Curled. Booted away by the Southampton defence. Headed away. Newcastle will regain the ball through Kieran Trippier and Bruno, who wins a free kick on the just over the halfway line from Orsic, and Newcastle half an hour in. Southampton 0, Newcastle 0. Yeah, Barry, what's your views on this Southampton team? And they're not the greatest team to watch, are they?
No, that and I think they're forcing us rather than playing the ball about. We're pumping a lot of long balls forward, trying to get the two wide guys away, and who are then getting clattered by their defence. It doesn't seem like the smooth passing that we usually do in midfield is what gets us around a lot of teams, and we just don't seem to be given the chance to do it. But they are. I mean, while you guys are talking, I'm a couple of minutes behind, so I was watching the Almiron tackle, and you just think that is totally out of order. It's just whether that's their game plan to clatter a few players to try and get somebody off injured or not is another thing. It just there's no need for it. I think we will. I mean, again, they're very sort of high speed, the way their players are going around as well. So hopefully that will second half start to wear down on them a bit.
Yeah. We're just watching this challenge back as well. Mara going through, and we're going to have to watch this with Bruno, because you know what referees are like. Bruno turned around. Now he had his eyes on the ball. He's almost flailing back. Referees done nothing about that, but you've just got to watch when you're a creative player like that. That Southampton are trying to stick their foot in, try to wind players up. Newcastle not biting, but Bruno has showed at times he's got that little bit of temperamentality, and just that arm swinging back can be misinterpreted. Next thing you know, he's suspended for 3 games for you just don't want that kind of thing happening. But 31 minutes in, Southampton 0 and Newcastle 0. A lot of people in the chat over the last few days, George, just saying we need to be more prolific in front of goal. We know we've talked already about potentially signing young Anthony Gordon, who could be, an answer and something different up front. But we have got options on the bench tonight. We have got Isaac, we have got ESM, and we've also got, we've also got the opportunity of moving players around as well. I mean, Joe Linton, I think, is better in midfield, but we do know that he can be a menace up front. He could certainly play a holding role up there, and there's other things we can do, other things we can try, isn't there, George?
There is. However, you lads have picked some of it up that I get on all the time at St James's Park. Steve Hasty must get sick of me shouting, "Put your foot through the ball," because sometimes they're dallying around when all it needs is wellying. And I remember, when I was a kid at St James's Park, the coaches used to say, if you hit it hard enough and low enough, it might hit one of them and go in. It doesn't have to be you. But time after time, I'm shouting, and poor Steve has to listen to it in his ear. Put your foot through the ball, and they just don't do it. And clearly they're not doing it in this match either, because I can see by the comments you lads are making that there's been opportunities to do that, and they just haven't taken it. Yeah. You said Wilson chested down and it goes nowhere. Well, he should chest it down and give it a thump. I mean, I'm sorry if that sounds old-fashioned, but it is very frustrating if they're trying to walk the ball in. It's the easy way to let Southampton stay in the game. If you're just tarting about with the ball and they keep fouling and doing everything they can to stop it, then it's a stonewall 0-0. Somebody's got to try something different. And the one thing they haven't tried so far, except for what's his name, put one over the stand at the start, is to have a real go. I mean,
Newcastle United balling from Trippier on the right-hand side. Willock arriving at the back post, and again just hits it, just catches it with the wrong part of his foot, and again just goes into orbit. There's no other way to describe it.
He's listening to George, I think, because he just
Absolutely. How frustrating though, that you're getting there and doing nothing with it. That's really frustrating.
Yeah, it was literally he went in with his boot wide open, George, and caught it on the half volley and just volleyed it into the stand. And that's two great opportunities Willock has had today, which is disappointing. We do need to start finishing these chances, not just tonight, but in other games as well. Darren, I mean, ironic that we were sitting talking about it there, and Willock's just given us the prime example of what is going wrong up front.
Yeah, what you see is like you've seen in the matches, like Sean Longstaff. He's shoot. I'm not going to criticize any of these things, but the shooting ability of some of the play Longstaff. Willock should have had he should have at least had one goal by now. We should be winning 1-0, I think. Just finishing Steve, it's so frustrating because how we've done this season. Like, it's a crucial game, you know what I mean? It's tricky coming over, but for the player, the level he's at, he should be doing better than not getting on target at least.
Yeah, I've just seen it.
Yeah, George, you were spot on, mate. Leather it, man, says Ant D. Just going hard with the tackle, says Tom. Another blaze over from Willock. And Mr. Anderson's calling him Joe Wallop. We should have scored there, Tom. You are right. Southampton have got a corner. Mara pushed forward. They clipped off one of our players. Ward-Prowse is going to take the corner 35 minutes in. Southampton 0, Newcastle 0. Just getting checked off the assistant referee for not having the ball quite in the D. Puts his hand up. Southampton whip the ball in. Won easily by Dan Burn and out and back towards the halfway line as Southampton pass it right back to the goalkeeper from that. Wow. Newcastle,
dear me.
Newcastle pushing forward again.
That shows intent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're on the halfway line and you're attacking and you give it back to your goalkeeper, my goodness. They don't want to get beat, do they? That's what that's about.
Another Alcaraz, a yellow card there for holding on to Bruno. Bruno turned around and squared up at him, stopped, looked at him, and then the referee booked him.
Look at that, man.
He had his hands all over him. And,
it was a cuddle, you know what I mean? After the game, son.
Again there, Bruno with both hands flying back over. He's really got to watch this. I'm telling you now, referees will look at this as games go by, and if he starts getting a reputation for going in with his hands like that, he's going to end up getting a red card for that. I'm telling you now, 100%. I've seen that happen many, many times. Vin, from your perspective, the finishing has been poor, hasn't it, from Newcastle probably just since the World Cup. I mean, the chance against Crystal Palace, for example, when Almiron went through, he hit a shot which before Christmas would have flew in the top corner, but it flew wide. We're not getting those chances. We're not getting those chances. Not putting those chances away, are we?
No, not like it's like it says. I'm hoping it's just like this is our blip. We're not losing games. We're still getting points in that, but we're just not scoring. I hope that's like it says. Every team has a bit of a blip, and I hope that's just ours. But we know they can do it. We know they can. We know they can get it there. I mean, look at the 2 goals they scored against Leicester. It just seems to be the league at the moment because Leicester, big Dan Burn stepped up and Joe Linton stepped up, bang, put them away, no bother. Big Dan Burn looked like a cracking centre forward when he put that away. But it's there. I think it'll just take one chance. I think it's a bit of luck. Sometimes it takes, like George says, have a blast. Big deflection of someone's butt flying in the top corner. Who cares? It's a goal. You know what I mean? And that will build the confidence. Yeah. But I think we'll get there. They just Southampton all frustrated. They're putting the tackles in, the right on when that, and that's all they're doing. They're just frustrating with. But I don't think they can hold out. But hopefully they can get something.
Yes, as Andy says, it is Argentina versus Brazil with those two, Bruno and Alcaraz. And Chris Banks says for Bruno, there was no escape from Alcaraz.
Oh, dear me.
Oh, it's a chance. Dear. Newcastle's in. Yes! It's a goal! Is it?
Oh, no.
No. It's allowed. Must have been a foul. Referee's looking at it. Joe Willock came through. Instead of blazing it over, he put it across the ground. The box was full of Newcastle players. Joe Linton eventually put the ball in the back of the net. Southampton players down, clutching his knee. Not 100% sure what is going on here, but we will wait and see. Trippier and Joe Linton both speaking to the referee. Longstaff and Bruno also on the scene. Let's see
Will
what
it
happens
get the
here.
VAR? Will it?
VAR checking it, are they?
Well, it must be a VAR because that was a really good goal. I'm not sure whether they're saying that he's put it in with his hand, whether he's put it in with his arm. We're just checking now. Willock came down the left-hand side, checked, took a shot. Keeper saved it. 3 Newcastle players were in there. The ball bounced up. Now, that looked as if it hit him on the shoulder. It looked as if it hit Joe Linton on the shoulder before he put it in the net. Let's have a look here. We're getting close in now.
No,
it didn't hit him. That's a goal. That's got to be a goal. The ball hit Wilson. Then it hit Joe Linton. It hit Joe Linton in the chest. And he volleyed it in with his left foot. VAR check on this.
Got to be a goal, that. Got to be a goal.
The Southampton player went down on the ground. I mean, that's irrelevant because there was no foul there.
Do you not think it's the VAR?
The goal has been chalked off.
What?
They must use VAR.
They do.
I'm not 100% sure whether VAR is in operation. I think it is in operation. I think I said it was yesterday, but let me just double check. Andrea Mariner is on VAR tonight.
Andrea Mariner was, yeah.
Yeah. Wilson fell over. Tom says it's got to be a goal, but unfortunately, Andrea Mariner must have looked at that and decided it wasn't. And maybe it was a foul on the keeper, but maybe he's just to judge that to have been a handball by Joe Linton. It looked like a handball from behind, but when you looked at it at the front, it hit him in the chest.
How was that?
It hit him there. It didn't hit him. Yeah, it hit him there. That's not a handball. That's a legitimate goal for me.
That's like that can't be a foul against the keeper because Callum Wilson wins the ball. The player hits Callum Wilson, and then there's no way that's not a goal.
Yeah, everyone's scratching their head, including Eddie Howe, who's been.
What's the point he's involved? They kind of do
exactly. We could just get someone at home watching Sky going, I've just seen the replay. It's a goal. Thank you very much.
Well, even
you get better angles on Sky.
Even the comments just said there, it's a goal.
It's cool.
That's a goal, definitely.
VAR checked it and is staying with the on-field decision.
I'm
just reading their Sky's summary. A long-range shot there from Southampton, which troubled Pope. Pope didn't hold on to it. It hit into his chest and it's gone behind for a corner to Southampton. Concentration is important when these things happen. In fact, it was a great save when you look at it from behind. The ball did swerve and Pope managed to get his right hand to it. And like a cat, I'd have to say, clawed it away to safety as Ward-Prowse takes another corner. 42 minutes on the clock. Hand up in the air again. Outswinger. Yeah. Won easily by Joe Linton. Going to knock this back for your goalkeeper, lads, are you? No, they've been a bit more adventurous. Little ball into the box, which is easily gathered by Nick Pope, who rolls it out.
I can't believe that goal's been choked off. Can't believe it.
Rolls it out to Joe Linton.
That is, what is the point of VAR? If it's not going to look at that, it's supposed to be given correct decisions. We've all looked at it and you can see nothing. I know maybe we might be biased, but you can see there's no actual foul or anything. It has an norm. It's gone in. It's
the way they're going, they'll get the system done away with, and the quicker. It's ridiculous.
Don Goodman on Sky said it was a tight one. Salisu saved his team though with the last-ditch challenge, and it's one for them to discuss at half-time. Newcastle, though, in again. Longstaff plays it to the edge of the box. Who's there? That was Almiron, sorry. Almiron to Longstaff, sorry, and Willock.
Dan Burn.
It was Longstaff. Was Longstaff to Burn, wasn't it? Just watching this goal again. Wilson could have had a penalty there.
Exactly. That's what I say. Wilson won the ball. It was a foul. It was a foul on him.
Wilson could have had a penalty there. That's just bloody ludicrous.
So it's a penalty or a goal. What did we do wrong? Nothing.
On that, it does touch his arm though. That angle.
What are they doing here? I've got no idea. Yeah, I've got no idea what they were doing there. They were replaying it. So they've chalked it off for handball.
But it never hit his hand. We've all seen it.
Andrea Mariner's found an angle where it looks like it's hit his hand. if they did spot the ball like that, there'd be loads of winners every week.
Oh, good God, aye.
It's a farce. Nick Pope having to come out of his box there and head the ball out. He's just taken out the Southampton player. You wouldn't want Nick Pope landing on you from a from a jump, would you? Nick Pope is okay. He's tapping Trippier's hand there, and bit of treatment probably going to be needed for this Southampton player. Oxygen maybe, and I don't think the sponge is going to help me. Wow, he completely stonewalled him there, like absolutely.
There's only one player with that ball, isn't it?
Yeah. Pope did a little dive as well over the top of him, but that's it's nice to see them getting it back. They've been handing it out to us all game, so fair play to Newcastle's keeper for coming out and for doing that. Barry, coming up to half time, mate. 4 minutes of added time. What's your take on that penalty, mate? Or on the disallowed goal? Sorry, we should have a penalty. Do you think?
My thing, when you watch it the first time through, the minute it's over and done with, and obviously Joelinton turns away to celebrate, he's almost patting his side, as if the ball's ricocheted off his side, and he's patting sort of down there. Yeah. And you can see straight away when you watch the replay, that's exactly where it hit him. It came off the side of his stomach and bounced. I struggled. I mean, I'm about a minute and a half behind you guys, so I've been watching the replays while other stuff's been happening. I haven't yet seen a replay that looks like a handball. I'm still watching it thinking, what?
Well, they come up with this really obscure one, Barry, behind the goal, like through the net. And then I've never seen this before. VAR check thing came up at the top. It looks like some kind of like new kind of way of doing VAR, but yeah, I mean, it looked like a crowd eyes view. I mean, ridiculous, really. And it only showed it once, and then they paused it on Sky. Got no idea. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, VAR just leaves you scratching your head.
I don't understand this thing of, well, we don't have VAR in the early rounds of the cup, but we do in the latter stages.
That shouldn't.
Yeah,
it's either used or it's not.
How's that fair on the majority of teams who play in the Carabao Cup? You know, you might have rules go against you because there's no VAR, but they stick it in later. If it's not there for the other one, it shouldn't be there for.
Well, what about the FA Cup? It's some grounds it's used and it's some grounds it's not. How's that?
It seems a bit.
It's crazy. Gineppo, by the way, just to keep people posted, looks as if he's been 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. They're saying how many fingers have you got up, and he's saying 12. He looks genuinely as if he's been knocked into the middle of next week. I mean, the physio has taken him off. The referee's looking at him as if to say, well, you know, it's quite clear that he can't play on. He just looks completely dazed. You know, they need to have a little
Wilson's saying he's pointing his head, saying it's concussion. He needs to go off.
Yeah. It's definitely concussion. He doesn't know which day of the week it is. He doesn't know where he's at. So yeah, Southampton are going to have to reorganise here.
I did think Pope had gone in for Olympic diving, mind.
Yeah,
it sort of went over the top of him. He was just missing the Superman arms over the top. Bless him.
He literally took him out. And yeah, you wouldn't want him landing on you. No. Newcastle at the moment still looking comfortable at the back. Everything still coming through Bruno in the middle as well, which is fantastic to see. He is in good form. Just needs to watch those hands. I know I keep going on about
Wilson.
Willock again putting his hand up. Willock hasn't had the greatest of halves again. He's grafted there, he's worked there, and here comes young Armstrong. Newcastle United's former player is replacing the injured man.
I'm amazed he wasn't in at the start.
Yeah, it's a big game for him. He's going to certainly want to, you know, put.
But he was so good for them in the last league game. He was great.
It is a frustrating half, says Andrew. As I say, we're 44. Well, 4 minutes of added time. We're nearly there now with that. Obviously, we had another little layoff, another little stoppage, so might be a little bit more time to be added. Newcastle pushing forward again. Armstrong, first touch of the ball. He wins it off Bruno, passes it out to the right. Southampton on the attack inside Newcastle's half. We'll just stay with this. See whether Southampton can create anything before the half-time whistle.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can understand in a lot of ways when it's a league game because the bottom of the league, they're not doing well. They don't have all the season tickets sold out like Newcastle do. But a semi-final of a cup, you think it would be the one thing that they were holding on to. maybe some of them got put off with the fact that Newcastle had already been down there and turned them over this season. And cold night. You just don't know, but it's very surprising to see. Yeah. Someone tell Willock we're playing football, not rugby. He's wasted 2 great chances, says June 2020. Yeah, that was my reference before June 2020 to 6 points to Wigan. When he just blazing it over the bar. Newcastle's got the ball back anyway. Bruno again, laying the ball back. Newcastle deciding to take their time now. Fabian Schär passing it out to Botman. Botman to Burn to Willock on the touchline on the left-hand side. And we're up to 50 minutes played in this half now. So the referee clearly adding on that little delay that we had with Gineppo down on the ground as Dan Burn has the ball in his hand, ready to take a throw in. And be happy to get him at half time with 0-0, George, to be honest. Newcastle should have been ahead, but, we'll settle for this at the moment.
Absolutely. They've got it all to do. The other benefit, of course, for us is if we had got one, they would have had to come out and stretch a bit and not just sit on the laurels and kick and push and all the rest of it. They'd actually have to play. And that opens it up for us again, So, I mean, that's what happened when we beat them 4-1 in the league. Once we scored, they had to come out and they got punished for it. Well, that's what we want again. So hopefully Eddie Howe will put somebody's shooting boots on to have a go, or make a change. Alter the equation for Southampton to solve, and alter the equation to give them something to solve is got to be Isaac, hasn't it, or ESM? They're both there, so somebody with a bit of pace. And the one thing about Isaac is he doesn't seem afraid of having a go. So give him the chance. Give him the chance.
Give him the opportunity. Still playing here. There we go. The whistle has just gone. Half time, 51 minutes, 20 seconds played of the first half. Joe Linton crosses himself there as they go off. Nick Pope running off into the dressing room. Nothing wrong with him. And 0-0 at half time. Cameras focus on Joe Willock, who's probably had our 2 best chances of the game so far and blazed them both into row Z. But it is 0-0. We aren't complaining with that, that's for certain. So, Darren, your assessment of that first half, mate?
Well, it's been frustrating, very, very frustrating, because we've had a couple of good chances. Willock, as George would say, put your pig in laces through the ball and properly hit it. The goal was disallowed very, very dubiously. Like I say, it could have been a penalty to Wilson, but the referee didn't say handball, and VAR's got to say that a clear obvious error the referee's made, so they kind of give it so. But hopefully second half will come out and, like George said, they'll change a couple of football boots for the players and score a couple of goals. We'll get 1 goal. Yeah,
Vince, your views on the first half, mate?
Yeah, like same as the rest. It's a bit frustrating, but like says the defense is solid. The defense is solid. We've got I don't think no worries there. Like this isn't like Southampton when they go forward, they haven't got any ideas. They don't know how to get. We are getting at them. We're getting in. We're just like just someone just put your foot through it. That's all we need. Like just have a go. That's all you need to do. Like and like Willock take them rugby boots off him, put some nice predators on him or something like that. Get scoring. But yeah, keep this up. Like it says, 1 goal, and like it says, they'll try and come out, and I think that's where we'll finish them off. No.
Donald, your views on the first half?
Yeah, if we think boxing terms, round 1, that's definitely round 1 to us. We could say we're winning on points there. Just haven't delivered the knockout blow to sort of, keep going. But hopefully second half, I think the game's made to bring Isaac on, because obviously, he will give Southampton something different to think about rather than what's there at the minute. So I'll take that 0-0. At least we're not 1-0 down. It's all to play for second half. So,
And Barry, what's your take on that first half?
Yeah, I think we're in control of the game. I mean, I suppose the good point is it's the first of 2 legs as well. And I think we will absolutely hammer them at St James's when when we've got the home crowd behind us. They're basically lying down now. I mean, if it was me, I would take Willock off, slot Joe Linton back into midfield, and stick Isaac on the wing, because I think Isaac will tear them apart. I think he'll. And the good thing about Isaac, I mean, I watch Man City only to watch Haaland, because I think Haaland does exactly what George said. He hits it from anywhere. I mean, yes, the kid is top of the world, but he gets a sniff within anywhere of their half, and he just hits it. And I think Isaac's got a little bit of that in him, so go for it. We've got nothing to lose. I think if it's the old Joe Harvey story, in it, if we score a goal, they'll fall apart, and I think they probably will do. And then leads on to the second round. It's a bit scrappy. I think we're going to get more chances, and we just need somebody up front to put it away.
Okay, halfway through the show, we will have our ad break. We'll be back after this. A big thank you to all our sponsors, as always. Thanks to Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, and our website skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free, and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Garden of Healing Dispensaries, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists. You can find them at thegohd.com. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces, which are handmade in Cumbria, and you can find them at mrvickys.co.uk. If you want to make an order, give them a call on 01768 210 102 or email info@mrvickys.co.uk. Thanks to Blowhole Breweries, you can get a selection of beers, and the cans are in the design of the old Newcastle United entertainers strips. Blowholebrewery.co.uk. Thanks to Melly's Carpets and Beds, laying our reputation one recommendation at a time. The best quality around at the cheapest prices. Melly's Beds and Carpets.co.uk. Email sales@mellysbedsandcarpets.co.uk or give Melly a call on 01670 632 216. And thanks to United Group Travel Limited, UK coach holidays in Morpeth, 01670 362 460 or mobile 07957 141 654. Graham, your driver, Beverly answering your calls and looking after you on your tour. Some great deals coming up there. Get yourself onto the website to check them out. Thanks also to Media Arts, who do all of our videos and help us with the technological side of things. And thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. If you want to subscribe to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below. Hit the thumb up, which is the like button, which does us a big favour with the algorithm. And click share. Share it to Newcastle United Facebook groups or Twitter accounts or your own social media to help our community grow. And if you want to join the channel, hit the join button. And for as little as $1.99 a month, you can get some members-only videos and chances to win some fantastic prizes. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. Don't forget as well that we do events through NUFC Matters. And this one is the next event coming up, Friday the 24th of February, an evening with Newcastle United legend Steve Howie. Friday the 24th of February, Tyneside Irish Centre, and tickets are available at £50 from newcastlelegends.com. If you also go onto Voucher and search for the event, you can pick up a bargain on there. Don't forget, we also support the food bank on this channel. www.nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk is where you can find the Matchday Bucket. You can make a virtual donation to the Matchday Bucket 365 days of the year to keep helping the food bank in Newcastle. Don't forget as well, we've got a few other events. Got one on Friday. Warren Barton is at the Tyneside Irish Centre, 7:30 till 9 o'clock, doing a meet and greet for the food bank. Tickets are a tenner from nufcmatters.com. Get yourself along to that one. In March, Nobby Solano will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 25th of March again. nufcmatters.com for your tickets for that. And just announced Lee Clark at the Tynemouth Surf Cafe. Tickets for that one direct from the Tynemouth Surf Cafe. And if you were wanting to go to the Steve Watson one, I'm afraid that one is now sold out. Just somebody's got that TV on. Can I just ask somebody to knock that sound off because it's just coming over the top of the mic, or might be Vin because he disappeared. I'm just gonna. There we go. It is Vin. Got it. Okay, so what we're looking for in the second half, George?
Oh, more of the same, but with a more lethal finish. That's all it's needed. As the lads have kept saying, clearly in control of the game. You know, all the statistics and all your expressions as I watch it tell me that it's all been our way. And as I said, more the same, but with a lethal finish. I don't know why they don't press them forward and get Shaw hanging around the edge of the penalty area and play the ball back to him. And if you want to see somebody welly the ball, he can. He can. You know, I mean, I'm amazed they don't use that more often. He's got such a deadly strike. But that's what I'd be doing. I'd be pushing them back to the byline and then play one to the penalty edge of the penalty area for Shaw to have a go at. A lethal finish is all we need, and that the game's ours.
Okay, if you're going to make a substitute, George, who would you bring on?
Well, the only one I think I'd bring on at this stage would be Isak, and you'd have to make a choice where you play them. I'd be inclined to take Willock off. He's been shooting into the stand, and I think I'd risk him and just rearrange the midfield a little bit.
Okay, Darren, what would you do in the second half? What you're looking for, and who would you bring on?
Probably more the same. I can get a go. I'd probably go with Willock again. He's had a disappointing game, but just unfortunately, because the last game against the last couple of games, I thought we've done all right, but not the day. Is it because he's playing third or forward, or him and Joe Linton keep on swapping position? So I'll give it another 15 minutes, see how it goes. If it didn't go well, I'll bring Isak on. Or I'll bring two on, take Ammer off, and bring ESM on. I may do a double substitute actually.
Okay. What about you, Vin?
Yeah, like says, I'm in agreement with them. Like says, we'll see how it goes. Give it about 15 minutes because Willock did well to put the ball in there for the goal. Like he's doing well to get there. So
yeah.
You've got to give him that. Like says, so give him a bit of time. See if he warms up. Like he says, he puts the right boots on, and give him a bit of time to warm them in. But like says, if it's still the same, then I would be looking at that. I would pull Joe Linton back a bit more, and like this is and then let Bruno go because Bruno is willing to have a shot from the edge of the box. He scored a few from outside the box, like this. So I would maybe put because I think when that's before January, Joe Linton was playing a bit further back, and I think Bruno fully trusts that Joe Linton is going to cover him. So that's why Bruno knows he can go, and I think maybe do that, pull him back, and then put like this Isak or ESM.
What about you, Dunlop? Your changes? What would you do in the second half?
Yeah, wait 15 minutes, and then say on the 60th minute, then make the necessary changes. I say Isak, ESM on for Willock and Almiron. Just change it up, add something different, and bring Joe Linton back into midfield. Where he can also play, and that may obviously free up Bruno a bit more to do his stuff further forward.
Okay, Barry.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I think we are losing some balls in midfield. I think Joe Linton back in there to do what he does best, which is take the ball from other players and knock it on. I think Isak, he's got to be given a chance against these. I think he will run amok. Nothing much different to the first half. I think we had the chances, we just didn't put them away. As long as we keep the same, which I think Kyle will do, hopefully the goals will come.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I mean, Willock, he's probably the one I would sacrifice in this team today. I just genuinely think maybe he's give him another 10 minutes in this half and then drop maybe Joe Linton back in the centre. I know I don't normally say this, but potentially I would then put Maximin on in that position and then give Wilson maybe 60, 65 minutes and then bring Isak on. I would definitely bring the two of them on. I think there needs to be a change. Wilson hasn't really had much of a a chance today. You know what I mean? He hasn't had a great deal of service. He hasn't had much to feed on. It might be a bit harsh on him. So maybe give Wilson maybe another maybe give him up to 75 minutes. But I think the other thing that we'll look at here is that it's, at the end of this game, George, it's only half time.
Yeah.
It's not
absolutely.
It's not as if we've got to win this. This would be different if at the end of 90 minutes we had to have a result. But the fact that we've got another game back at our place, 0-0's not a disaster, is it, down here?
No. And it's the other thing it does for them is, of course, they're going to come to St James's next week and try and do the same again and frustrate us so that it heads up penalties. That's where they're headed. Well, we've got to make sure that they don't get that opportunity. I think next week at St James's we'll sort it out if we don't sort it out tonight. I'm still confident we'll sort it out tonight, though.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat say Isak for Wilson. Wilson doesn't look fit, isn't getting into position as the ball is getting played to. He's not been bad, just doesn't look 100%. Yeah, we talked about this last night, Ali, as well. I think it was David in the chat made the point that, he hasn't just become a bad player. It's just, he clearly has been ill and he's definitely feeling it. There's no doubt about that. But he's clearly fit enough to play. Otherwise, Eddie Howe wouldn't play him. Chris says changes at 60 minutes and then Isak in attack. Steve says Dan Burns having trouble with pace. Needing cover, coming back. David Cook wants to see the substitutes have at least half an hour. Evening, Mozza, hope you're well. Says, get Willock off. It's just not his night. Get the razzle dazzle on, which is St Maximin. Miggy's struggling, says David. I think a lot of us feel that Miggy's struggling. Not with the way that he plays. He never changes. His work rate's still there. His efforts are still there. But maybe it's that confidence that he had before Christmas has dipped a little bit. And that's the way it is. Mike Stewart says another way to look at it is 0-0 wouldn't be too bad, which is what I said earlier, Mike. I think we've got to remember that at the end of this game, it is only half time. VAR equals deception through perception, says son of THC. Very well put. That's a T-shirt, I think. But we'll mention that to John at some point. Simon Natter says, how many times Bruno given it away? Yeah, but he's had his usual game, Bruno, I think. I mean, Trippier's done a lot of that in the last few weeks, but he's had a pretty decent game tonight. He's only given the ball away once. Looking like Sky are hoping the tie goes to the second leg with everything to play for. It's an absolute fix, says Mike. David Cook says, bigger picture, need to back if the net feeling back. I'm not sure what that means. Full time is half time. Exactly, Chris. It's it's a point I made. Isak and Wilson, 4-4-2, number 9-2, isolated. Graham, again, good point. Eddie Howe said he wouldn't be against playing 4-4-2 at some period. The teams are lining up for the second half. I'll just go through the last comments. Richest club in the world, but shopping in Aldi. Why, says Mark. Wow, that's a bit harsh. That is a bit harsh, Mark.
Very harsh.
It's down to financial fair play. Howe didn't look happy on the touchline. Yeah, he was doing a lot of scribbling on bits of paper and looking at his iPad a lot. Mozza says, Wilson's still suffering. Was it COVID? I think so. If it was, I feel he's pain. Yeah, we'll never know. But clearly him and ASM were affected by something. To me, with his age and persistent injuries, Wilson will never be 100% again. He is now just a squad player. And Sky saying it was definitely a goal, but it is Celeste. And she had given, yeah, that's all right, David. If you want an alternative opinion, ask Kieran Dyer and Jimmy and Janice. Back of the net feeling, David Cook, I've got you now. What's wrong with Aldi? Nothing. I shop there, mate. I just don't think Newcastle are shopping in Aldi. Chris Collins says now each at the quarter. Eddie Howe will fire into them. 2-0 win for Newcastle at half time, which of course is the end of the game. Chris, very good. Shea's not a happy bunny. Definitely a goal, says Les. So that's your comments. The game has kicked off again. 1 minute into the second half. Southampton 0, Newcastle 0. And I mean, look, I'm not sure whether Dan Burn. Oh yeah, Dan Burn is struggling a little bit. Armstrong, we'll just stay with this. Armstrong is cutting down the right hand side, turned Burn one way, turned him another, but Botman was safe in the middle, winning the ball back. Willock, Joe Linton, quite untidy there, but they've got it out to Almiron, who is charging down the left-hand side now. Maybe this is a little bit of a change in formation, is it? We'll have to keep an eye on this. Ball's in. Who's coming in the back post? It was Sean Longstaff, who, guess what he's done? You can tell by Darren's reaction. He's hit a supporter, and hit a supporter in Rosehead. But that was we've got Almira on the
what in
left-hand
Manchester?
I think what you should do, Steve, I think you should get Amanda Murdoch, get George in the change rooms and put your ball for put the foot.
I'm not being funny. That was a great.
They just not hit the ball properly, mate. It's just.
That was a great bit of play from Almiron down the left-hand side, squared it across the box behind Wilson, who was charging in. Longstaff was coming in at the back post. Longstaff then doesn't hit the ball properly. It's as simple as that. They're not hitting the ball properly, and that's the frustrating thing. Hitting the ball. I mean, George, you played. There's a certain way you hit a ball, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
It's that's all they need to learn, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and I get sick of watching modern coaches telling the players that you've got to not just hit it, but have a big follow through. You can also stun the ball if you time it right, like you stun a billiard ball. Bang, and that keeps it low and puts it in the back of the net very low. They don't seem to have any of that in the modern days. I very rarely have seen any of our players do that, or even visiting players. So it's whatever they do in terms of attacking training, they certainly don't seem to do much shooting practice. It's ridiculous. I mean, just on the chances that I've been listening to you talk about, we should be 3-0 up. 3-0 at least.
We should be. Son of THC says we've got Kieran Trippier over the wall. We've also got Sean Long standing over the bar. You what you meant, son of THC. Yeah,
it's like when we see penalties getting taken now. You see all these players doing this daft little run up instead of just hit the ball properly.
Yeah.
It's my biggest pet here. What happened in the old days? Just put the ball.
Darren, we saw that in the earlier rounds of the cup, didn't it? With Bruno's penalty.
Yeah.
Absolutely crackers. Yeah. He was
and we've lost with best penalty taken out. Chris Wood scored.
Aye. Mr. Confidence is gone. Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to see penalty gets going all the way, hit the ball properly with your laces and burst the net.
Exactly.
I think there's only certain players that can get away with like a crafty penalty, someone like a Pirlo or someone. They can get away with it. They've got a thing to do it. Not everybody can,
Cantona, Messi.
Messi.
Yeah.
Alex, he did it in the World Cup final, didn't he?
Yeah.
Best penalty taker I ever saw was Ray Stewart at West Ham. 49
penalties.
Oh, yeah. 49 goals.
Yeah.
Never missed.
He just used to belt it. He just used to belt it, didn't he, Ray Stewart?
Yeah, just used to well it, yeah.
In the words of Frank Sinatra, straight down the middle. Yeah, he was really good. Kieran Trippier's stats, first half stats coming up. Touches 47, crosses 5, successful passes in final third 11, tackles 4, and he ranked in the game first. Wow. What a player, Vince.
Mental. What a player, man. What a player.
Yeah.
He is. He came, and that's what he did. Simon Jordan was talking about Talk Sport. He was talking about our owners and stuff like that, and he says Kieran Trippier proved him wrong through his playing and all that. Like, this is why he was going about money, he was coming with money and that. And Kieran Trippier proved him wrong. Like, how he's played, how well he's played for, he fights, the way he is with the club and everything like that. He's just, like he says, it's just not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch as well. Yeah. And I love to see when the substitutes are coming on as well, he goes over and like says, he sees the lad off, but then he welcomes the other lad on and have a quick word with him. That
he's a proper captain.
Proper leader. And like says, and he does it on the pitch as well. And that's what you want. You want your leader to not only like just be a leader of the men of the team, but doing it on the pitch as well. And he is.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Donald. I mean, it was still like, rubbing your eyes in disbelief when he signed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but he's. He's just an all-round good professional, as well as being a great player. He brings that leadership. We didn't have that under the previous regime. That was one thing we were missing: leadership. And when we signed Trippier, that's one of the qualities we ended up with: a leader who, you know, knew how to chivvy his teammates along.
I would take Mickey. He looks knackered there, you know.
Yeah, don't forget he did get clattered in the first half. He isn't looking 100%. You are right. There might be a cause for potentially, you know, giving him a sub. But again, he charged through there on the left hand side. Maybe he's just catching his breath. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with him. Barry, Kieran Trippier's stats there, just remarkable.
Yeah, he's the best right back I've seen since Venison first signed for us in the Entertainers. Venison did this similar sort of thing, not to the same level.
How do you miss?
Oh, not again. I'm still a minute behind. I'm still waiting.
I am.
Joe is smiling at a missed opportunity, but again, great work by Almiron. Trippier back to Almiron. Almiron passed it inside the Longstaff, passed it back, crossed the box, wide open goal. Joe Linton at the back post. The ball bounced, no bad bounce, I'm afraid. Left foot, and he blazed it over the bar. Complete. It wasn't as bad as Ronnie Rosenthal for Liverpool all them years ago, but it wasn't. It was a bad miss. That is the worst miss. He's certainly taken Joe Willock's crown, hasn't he, Darren, with that one?
Oh, George, calm down, George. I can don't get. Was that bad, George? Honestly, mate, you. Yeah, George, honestly, mate, just take a breath and go easy, mate, because that was bad. That was bad. Oh,
yeah. Just me. I just really look as though he's limping.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously just caught up now, but that was Newcastle again, Miggy with an opportunity, Botman at the back post, exactly the same ball across the box, that Southampton at 6s and 7s. And it was a quick free kick actually taken by Trippier straight to Almiron. He cut inside, hit it with his left across the box, keeper saved it. Botman was at the back post, a bit more of a crowded area.
Big moves from head goal.
And this time, Botman, just put it wide. But another chance.
Foot, isn't it? It is only his weak foot.
Yeah, exactly. Norman, good evening, says they want to swerve the ball like Roberto Carlos, especially Murphy. They need practice, top of the foot, head over the ball with power. And D says some of them blaze over shots would hit Armstrong on the bloody moon. As the camera's focusing on the Newcastle United supporters. There's Darren Curry there. I can see him and a few of the others who've made that long pilgrimage down to Newcastle. And not many people with their tops off tonight, it has to be said. A little bit too cold for that. We should be passing the ball around, says Tom. Son of THC says, breaking news. This is NASA. We can now confirm that the shot is on its way to the moon.
I think the fans behind that goal should be on danger money, mind.
Yeah, definitely. Steve Middleman says we're trying to throw the tie away. Come on. It was an open goal, Andy. There's no doubt about it. Chris says it's agony. Another great conversion, says Andrew. But
the only thing I would say about the Joe Linton when it came in is the defender. It hit the defender and it kind of went backwards. So I think Joe Linton was going forward. That's the only thing I could think of.
No, you should be scoring that. Like, sorry, you can't. No.
Yeah,
you've got to score those goals.
Yeah. It was on
Newcastle fans going to make excuses.
No, you can't. I won't, but sorry. As Joe just said, put your laser through and put your burst the net.
Yeah.
But the other thing that annoys me intensely is it came to his wrong foot. The money they're paid, they shouldn't have a bloody wrong foot. They should be out at the training ground practicing with the foot that's not supposed to be good. I mean, I'm telling you now, lads, in 1957 when I first went, the funniest thing I used to get involved in was when they played a practice match and you had a black and white sock on one foot and a green or red or a blue one on your other foot. And the coaches used to shout, right foot, left foot. And if you didn't hit it with the foot they shouted, you were off. As simple as that. And people got used to using both feet. I mean, it just irritates me when I hear this, it's his wrong foot. They're paid Yeah, some of them are on hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. For God's sake, you can't kick with both feet. You know, sorry.
Double substitution for Southampton. Mara and Orsic are both going off. 57 minutes on the clock. And the substitutions that are coming on for Southampton are Che Adams.
Yeah.
For Mara. And
well, I'm surprised he wasn't on at the beginning.
Didn't catch the other one here. We go to Dozy on for Orsic. So 2 substitutions made, 57 minutes on the clock. No signs of a substitution for Newcastle yet, but I would imagine it will be imminent. Southampton have had a couple of chances in this second half. Armstrong managed to get through and didn't really test the goalkeeper, blazing it over the bar as well. But the more chances Newcastle miss, the more aggravating it gets, I think, and the more likely that Southampton could just sneak a 1-0 win. So Newcastle need to start thinking about themselves and putting the ball in the back of the net, like we've been discussing. The ball is with Willock on the left-hand side after a ball by Bruno. He gives it back to Bruno. Bruno closed down quickly, spreads the ball wide to Fabian Schär, who's pushed up, gives it to Joe Linton, who's on the edge of the box, but easily pushed off the ball. Not often we say that. And Southampton have got the ball. If you miss an open goal chances, you should get fined, says Steve Middlemiss, agreeing with George. Tom, this is becoming a thing. We need to stop it. It is becoming a thing. Adam Armstrong is starting to look dangerous, says Ant D. Putin complains of football-shaped missiles landing in red square, says Norman. Paul says, if Big Joe had have kept that low, the keeper would have had it. Isaac and ASM time, says Toon 2020. Lots of people agree, and it is probably getting towards that substitution time. But again, like I keep saying, end of this game is half time, and maybe Newcastle would be happy with a 0-0 going back to St James's Park. Been a couple of challenges there. Southampton again looking for penalties, and the referee has got both hands out, and he's not celebrating a conversion by Joe Willock. He's saying no penalty. But still 0-0 as we approach the hour mark. Definitely no penalty in that. Why on earth would you even go down and embarrass yourself like that? And Newcastle again in possession, but Southampton sniff it out. Hoof back down below on a rare slip from Botman. He is human. Slipping on the turf there, gives the ball back to Armstrong in a dangerous position out wide. But Newcastle again defending in numbers, midfield and back four back there, and limiting Southampton to what they do. Miggy is fantastic, by the way, says Tom. He is, mate. He is. He's just, he had a golden run with goals and they've dried up. It doesn't mean that his performance for the team isn't the same. Just doesn't look as confident, George. That's the problem, isn't it? Confidence is a big thing in football. Yeah,
and it comes. He got his confidence because from the goals he was scoring, he did just. It adds that extra thing that he didn't have before. And I'm convinced it'll come back with him. I mean, I love Biggie because he's always got a smile on his face, and well, that's a useful weapon in the dressing room to keep his mates happy, I've got to say. But yes, it is a shame that he seems to have lost that magic touch. I mean, you're absolutely right. At Crystal Palace the other night, when I watched the replay on Sky, those balls, he had two at least, which before the break would have been sitting in the back of the net, but didn't happen that time. So, yeah, he needs a bit more confidence, but he's still trying his heart out for the team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Darren, ASM's a possibility tonight. Maybe Miggy's the one to make way. Maybe it's Willock. I'm not sure, but yeah, getting back to Almiron, Darren. He's never going to maintain that all the way through the season, was he?
It's impossible, Steve. Yes, he's been outstanding all season so far, but it's physically and mentally impossible for the player to play 10 out of 10 every game. You can't have a lot of baggage. It's off game corny, and I've been thinking about the subs on me. I'll bring ESM on and Ajax on, and I'll keep Wilson on. To be fair, I think he's fit enough. I would take Willock, and I would take what do you call him off? I'll take him off. That'd be two subs. I would do personally.
What about you, Vince? Who's for the hook for you? Would you take Willock off?
I think Willock's the answer for me. Like, because like his Almiron, like he's drifting in and out of the game, but like he gets the ball and he's still like he's beating his man, he's getting around him, he's getting to the line, he's getting the ball, and that's what you want to see. Like where Willock isn't doing that on the other side, so maybe put Maxi on or like get him on, like says all like, but like says even Isaac, but I would definitely keep Wilson. You want to keep your attackers on, like says Wilson and Isaac, and just Isaac on. I think he might create a bit of space for Wilson. They'll play together in that, but.
Walker Peters pushing forward, looking dangerous. Put the ball into Ward-Prowse, who Shaw had him marked. He gave him a little bit of space. You know, all Ward-Prowse could do there was go for an overhead kick, and it was again it's landed with a collection of balls in rows Ed and that stand that Willock's put in the first half. But it's a difficult one, Donald, isn't it? It's finely balanced. Southampton are on top of the minute. It's still 0-0, 62, nearly 63 minutes played. But it's difficult. It's difficult, isn't it, in a game like this to decide when to make the substitutions, isn't it? It's not a Premier League game. As I say, we've got two legs in this. Looks like Newcastle getting ready to make a substitution now, though.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's difficult. It's a case of stick or twist, but obviously probably time now to twist and try something a bit different. And because if we can get a goal, then it's an away goal, puts us in the ascendancy going into the second leg, doesn't it? If we can nick that away goal, it's a vital thing to take back to St James's. So,
looks like Alexander Isak, from what I can see. We haven't focused on the sidelines yet, but it does look as if Isak is going to come on. I can only see the one sub at this moment in time, but the ball is in play. Newcastle's in possession and just stroking the ball around. It's with Botman, who's put a long, hopeful ball up front. Comes to nothing, though, and Southampton swept that away. It could be Isak, but Southampton have broken away here. Great save by Pope with his feet. And it's...
It was starting to let them long ball over the top, and it's on the counter-attack now, Steve. It's getting concerned a bit, isn't it?
Walker Peters is having a good second half here. He's definitely playing a more advanced role, and certainly it's a good attacking option for Southampton. It was a great ball through as well. I missed who it was who came through.
Is Pidgey still on the left, Steve?
No. That was Che Adams with a shot, and it was Nick Pope who kicked the ball away with his feet. It wasn't 1-on-1. There was enough defenders back there, but they did breach the... It looks like ASM's coming on. I've just seen a glimpse of ASM there. But again, the ball's not out to play, and we haven't made the substitutions yet. I'll just get into the chat here. Our biggest mistake this window was not signing Trossard. The guy was a snip for what he is. 25 million, I think, Arsenal paid. Assist in his first game. Guy's a talent, a creator, and a scorer. With missed opportunity. Yeah. Clearly, not what Newcastle were looking for, though, which is interesting that they've now gone for, or they appear to be going for Gordon. We look leggy, taking Miggy off, says Steve. It's between him and Willock, I think. But they may be making two substitutions. I've got a feeling Wilson will come off and Willock. Isak coming on, says Mozza. God, I love you, Pope, she says. Isak to get the winner, says Tom. Pope answers Newcastle's prayers, says Chris. Very good. Chris, are you a headline writer for a newspaper? Maxi, that was like me. Would you believe it when Chris Wood scored? Maxi,
I don't think Joe Lynch had a good send off, Steve. I think he had a...
yeah, I would agree. I wonder when Eddie realised it's not working, says Mark. Andrew says those pundits who wouldn't admit Pope is top 10, send them those.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
I realised by half time, says Mozza. Okay, 66 minutes gone. Pope's organising his wall. Ward-Prowse has got a free kick. It's outside the box, well outside the 18-yard area, in fact. All the players are lined up on the 18-yard line. Ward-Prowse with a free kick. Looked like a handball, that. Looked like a handball. Newcastle's defenders were there in numbers. Pope had to get down and save at his left-hand side. Still not away yet. It is now into Rosette again as the Southampton centre-half has a blast from the halfway line. But Newcastle defended well there. Both centre-halves up, but the ball fell nicely to Che Adams, who managed to get the shot around Wilson I tell you what, Nick Pope was unsighted there. Dived to his left and managed to palm it clear. Nick Pope, since his last goal conceded, appearances 9, clean sheets 9, shots on target faced 19, saves 19. Wow, some record that, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Big shout out to, and I was right. Off goes Callum Wilson. On comes Isaac. So that's your first substitution, ladies and gents. And is it Willock going off as well? Or is he staying on? And Willock's off as well. ASM is on. So I called it. Let's see what happens. 67 minutes played. Chance for a goal potentially and a change of play by Newcastle. Horrible Peter, good evening. He says, goal. No, it's not, mate. Chris Banks says, Pope pulled off a miracle. Pope pulled off a miracle there. What a save. Jesus. I mean, Pope. Need changes. We're getting leggy and nervous. Well, they're done. Wizik and Willock off. Brilliant. Let's go, says Mark. Let's hope those changes do have the desired effect. They didn't have the effect at Palace. So let's hope they can tonight. Maybe this is a good opportunity. Pope is the best in the world. It doesn't feel like we're going to score. We are this, Tom. Nick Pope, Barry, I'll come to you. Your thoughts on Nick Pope? I mean, he certainly for me is England's number one, if not the best, goalkeeper in the Premier League at the minute.
Easily. I think the considering how few shots Southampton are having to start and he just oozes confidence. I was torn when we signed him because I really liked Dubravka. Obviously, stuff's happened since then, but I just think Pope looks class. I know the defense is rock solid now, but there's been 2 or 3 reasonable opportunities there for Southampton to score, and each time he's been all over it. He's no, definitely. And you look at how much we paid for him, Steve. You just think, God, he was a bargain and a half because for me, he's way ahead of Tiny Arms. I think he should be England's keeper for any games coming up.
Yeah, Specsavers have just put out a tweet. A new eye test. Spot the difference between Joe Linton's arm and Joe Linton's chest. Very good.
I feel a bit sorry for Wilson tonight because I think had one of the chances that numerous other players missed, had Wilson getting to one of them, I think would have been 1 or 2-0 up by now.
Yeah.
It's just that downside that it's been midfielders who've had the shots from distance.
What did you make of the substitutions, Donald?
Basically, there are 2 bits of quality we got on the bench, and might as well, ideal time to bring them on, and they should give them plenty of minutes to try and do something. Got plenty of time to make an impact.
Yellow card for Kieran Trippier.
It's in my dream team. What's he doing?
That you're all right for Dream Team. This one don't count for Dream Team.
Not everything.
Yeah, you're all right.
Just letting Edozie know that he's there with an outstretched left foot, sending him onto the deck. Free kick to Southampton. 70 minutes played, and still 0-0. Right substitutions. Wilson didn't look happy, Vin.
Yeah, like says, well, I think as a striker, and you're not scoring. He hasn't scored for such a long time. He won't be. I think he's like he'll be unhappy with himself. But it's like it says we're not playing like to his strengths really, where it's getting the ball where he can run at the defenders, he can run at the goal and that. He hasn't had many opportunities like that, getting the ball to and all that. And the way we're playing, like says, it's leaving 2 defenders and marking him out the game. He's being closed down. We're not moving the ball as fast as we normally are in the midfield, and then getting the breaks away for Wilson. And like said, and I think he's a bit disappointed. It's just not going his way at the moment. And says, which is a striker, you want to score goals, and he's not doing it. So it'll be mainly up with himself. But I think it's probably the right substitutions. We just need to get them the ball.
Yeah, Ward-Prowse with another free kick in there, and went behind for a corner. Ward-Prowse now taking the corner for Southampton. It's a big, long, deep one, and
how a referee, man.
Lyanko is trying to outmuscle Nick Pope, who clearly collected that ball in his usual fashion, and then tried to obscure him. Isaac though has put the ball forward to ASM to Bruno. Bruno checks, puts it back to Joe Linton. Joe Linton plays it out wide to. I'm not sure who that was. Was it Botman? Was it Botman or Trippier? Ball lofted in again. Gets to ASM at the back post on the left-hand side. Sean Longstaff comes in, hits it with his left, hits a row of people, and is played back into Newcastle's half, and Botman plays it back to Pope. And Adams is trying to chase him down. Ball is back with Bruno in the centre of midfield. Newcastle still 0-0 at Southampton in the semi-final. Darren, the changes are on. Any changes so far? Do you think Newcastle are going to up the ante in this?
Yeah, I think we've got a bit more fresh legs, Steve. Like, yes, what mood is in? He create more on the left-hand side, take players out with pace. How fast is he there? Go on, son. Yes!
Yes!
Get in! Come on!
How are you, man?
Get in! Come on! Isaac, see how fast he's one there.
Isaac with a wonderful turn and run of pace, beat the defenders, crossed the ball across the 6-yard box, and for once, Joe Linton was there to tap
Put his foot for the ball, George.
Tapped it in.
Champion.
That's what he should have done before. We've made it difficult for ourselves tonight, honestly.
I'm beginning to think Eddie Howe's got a live feed to Steve Wraith because everything we say is happening, isn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. We're just watching it again. Yeah, Isaac easily round the defender, cuts it back with his right foot, runs into the crowd before Joe Linton scores it to celebrate.
How fast is Isaac there, though?
He looks up. He looks up. He passes it with his right, and Joe Linton is on the line, and bang. Just arrives with his right foot. He couldn't miss. Let's face it, we could have all scored that. 100%.
What a great this one before you now, Steve.
What a great finish that was.
That was probably more difficult.
The one thing is,
I would say.
We'd have to get there first.
Yeah.
Like just...
Even me, when I played, I used to just mooch, Vin.
Same with me. It was so easy, that, though.
you were the Gary Lineker, were you? 6-yard box special.
Yeah. Get back. It's okay. I'm all right.
I don't think a break that much just sweat when I play football. Like,
yeah, Andrew says it was a poor conversion.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's been talking to Todd Bowley tonight. He's going about conversions and that. But I get what you mean. Southampton, no, the game's not over yet. Let's remember we're not even at half time yet. And is that an equaliser? It's 1-1. Adam Armstrong. Adam Armstrong has equalised for Southampton. That is got Newcastle scratching their heads in disbelief. Not sure how that happened. Let's watch that back. Bit of a confusion, but fair play to Southampton. Fair play to Southampton for that. They didn't let the grass grow. And Armstrong gets the goal that he wanted. Joe Linton looking a bit bemused. Armstrong with his hand in the air. Told you this isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Let's see where we go here. Armstrong started the move. Joe Linton slid out of play. Armstrong beat 1, beat 2. Newcastle thought they cleared it. Ward-Prowse played the ball into the back of... Oh, he bundled it into the net. It was a ball in by Ward-Prowse. Shaw jumped up, and it was... Yeah, it was a very, it was a scooped ball in. Armstrong miskicked it, and it's probably an own goal. That's probably an own goal. It's probably an own goal by Dan Burn. It is. Dan Burn in a VAR decision, possible handball. Possible handball. Toon 2020 says, I've switched off. I'd switch it back on, mate. It's a possible handball. Now, is this going to be? It is. It's a handball. It's a handball. 100%. That's got to be. Looking at that VAR angle, if that's not a handball, then Joe Linton's.
Yeah,
that's got to be.
That's got to be a handball.
The handball.
It's a handball. Come on, Andrea Mariner. That's a handball.
Handball.
Come on. It's not that bloody difficult, Andrea. What's he doing?
Yeah, that handball.
Handball.
Disallowed?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
disallowed,
disallowed.
lads and lasses.
Get in.
Get everyone who's still on, Steve.
Yeah.
We're 2-0 still on as well, George.
I love BRB. God.
Let's have some more.
Look at the angles they are showing. You're telling me that's not deception through perception, says son of THC. Got to
Get lost, Adam, man. Accept it, son.
mental defense switched off. Tune 2020. I see what you mean. Good stuff. Yeah, switched.
But
I thought you switched.
how
your
long
TV
did
off.
it take? I mean, that's the other thing. How long did it take? It's painful.
His hand.
Absolutely
It's not
painful.
Didn't even connect with the ball.
It's just a little reminder for Newcastle United that Southampton are still a big threat.
That's clear.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't rest on our laurels with this.
They've got nothing to lose, have they? They're 1-0 down at home facing an away leg, so they're bound to have a go. If they don't, they're not professionals, are they?
Yeah.
And I'm amazed that Armstrong and Adams weren't on at the beginning, because last weekend they looked great together on
Newcastle on the attack again. Isak really making himself awkward in there. Won the ball, got into ASM then to Bruno, but the ball is safely back in the hands now.
I hate to see that. Adam's players blatantly knows he's punched it in the net, and he's still trying to complain for it. I hate that.
During all the furore, Almiron's gone off and Jacob Murphy has now come on. So that's another substitution by Newcastle. 78 minutes on the clock. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1. First leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. And Miggy off, Murphy on, says Mozza. Yeah. Ball back in Southampton's half. And Isak's made such a great impression, Barry, so far, hasn't he?
I think that's it. I think it's he's looking at replacing Wilson for the next starting game, because Wilson just looks absolutely drained. I would play Isak from the start. I think he's just his pace and his ability on the balls just looks absolutely fab, Steve. He's just running amok. And touch wood, ESM's done his bit as well since coming on, so I give him plenty of sticks. So far he's looking decent.
And
I was a bit worried that it was his haircut, that Maxie's took all his power away, getting the dreads cut off. But
like Samson.
Still got his bandages.
He's still got the magic bandages. Half mummy, half man.
And Dunnell, I've got to be honest with Isak, he looks like a goal provider as well as a goal scorer, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, he's he can play anywhere along the front three, can't he? So
You're the right, I thought. I'm wrong. Like I said, for Will, feel a bit sorry for Wilson. He's just had nice service.
Technically, definitely.
Yeah, but there's times though that strikers have to make their own luck.
I understand that, George. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we all sat at St James's Park and watched Shearer chase a nothing ball into the corner? Yeah. And then the next 2 minutes later, it's in the back of the bloody net. It's just they've got to make their own luck sometimes.
Yeah. Well, remember the quickest goal he scored when he just charged you on the close down.
Yeah.
Alan's down there actually. He was taking the mick out of Will on Twitter earlier on. I did text him before the game, and I just said I'm more nervous than I was, previous semi-finals. And Alan said pressure is for tires.
Oh dear me.
He is right though, isn't he? He is right.
Good
to see him. Good to see him sitting in there behind Mia, Dad, and Amanda tonight. There's another substitution this time for Southampton, as we see Diallo going off. Thank you, Locks. Hope you're well, mate. Hope the book's going well as well. And we've got Lavia coming on. Romeo Lavia coming on for Southampton.
Whinging, son. Get lost.
Adam Armstrong still whinging. Yeah.
That's another attacking move.
Yeah, they're going for it. Isak might be a foil for Wilson. We don't open up defenders enough, says Steve. Isak actually got his head up and played.
So that's what we want to see.
Yeah, great challenge that by Murphy, charging the ball down. Played in the perfect pass to J7 rather than just hitting it and hoping. 100%. Yeah, it was fantastic. As the cameras pan onto those Newcastle United supporters again, people celebrating already. Just remember, it's the first leg. Not putting a downer on it. Just got to remember, it's the first leg. Got to get it home. Got to do the job. Got to finish the job at home. And I'd love it. I'd love it if it was a 2-0 win. It would be even better. But we'll settle for 1 if that's it. Isaac is all over. He is.
Should have been bloody 2.
Yeah. Should have been 3 or 4 to be fair.
Yeah. 82 minutes played. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1. Long, hopeful ball again by the Southampton back 4, but Newcastle sniff it out again. It comes with Bruno in the midfield, lays it up to Isaac, who heads it back. Joe Linton again wins the ball, turns, plays it to ASM, who flicks it to Bruno. Bruno now charging forward, surrounded by 2 players, and it's a free kick now to
Bruno, come, dude.
Lyanko is trying to cause a stir. ASM gives him it, and Isaac's now taking him away along with Ward-Prowse.
Look at Botman. Go on, son.
Botman's coming up from the back 4 and standing in the middle of it all now. Newcastle do back each other up. It's great to see.
That's good to see. That's what you want, passion.
It
All
really
for one, one for all. That's what you want to see.
Lyanko did try it on with Newcastle's defenders a little bit earlier on in our half, but he's now going to have his name taken by the referee. He's looking a bit bemused. Really, the kid's a bit of a knacker. And
I'll tell you what, you've got to be totally dumb to try it on with Newcastle defenders. I mean, you've got to be really totally dumb, a Dumbo up here to.
Yeah, Maxi was straight in as well, and he's been booked yellow card for his reaction. Well, it's for his reaction towards Lyanko. I think he did push him there, which
I think.
Just replaying it. It was a foul. It was a foul by Lyanko on Bruno. Bruno was on the deck, so he pushed him, and then ASM went in and had a go at Lyanko, and everybody else got involved. So yeah,
right. Because I pushed it when he was doing it, and everyone pushed him as well.
I mean, he was actually lying on the floor. He's trying to push him into the ground, which is ludicrous. Anyway, the result of all of that handbags is that Kieran Trippier is standing quite calm and composed, putting the ball in place, and is getting ready to take a free kick. Son of THC is singing now in the chat, which is great. Yeah. Mozza's got her boxing gloves on. Mozza's got the boxing gloves on. Fight, says Son of THC.
Oh, dear me.
All right, here we go. Kieran Trippier lined up with a free kick. Floated in. Too far, straight in the keeper's hands.
Disappointing that.
Yeah, it was. It was another disappointing moment. We do need it. We do need to work on set pieces, corners and free kicks. We'll keep saying it time and time again. It's the one weak point of our game. Apart from hitting the ball incorrectly from some of our players, we do need to learn how to take set pieces. Practice them more. Practice. Like I keep saying.
And it's going to be a big 10 minutes because it's going to be 5 minutes added on easily.
Yeah. Getting back to the shooting thing, we need Longstaff and the culprits, if you like, the Willocks of this world, the Joe Lintons of this world, the Sean Longstaffs of this world should be doing what the likes of Cantona and David Beckham used to do. Stay behind half an hour after. Here goes ASM. He's charging through the middle. He's got 1. He's passed 2. He's on the deck. He's been taken out, and it's a free kick by Coletta Carr, who's got a yellow card, who's now just pushed Bruno, and he's off. It's a red card. It is a red card. Coletta Carr lost his rag there, and he pushed Bruno in the chest, and it is 2 yellows. And he's off. Thank you very much.
And he's going to miss the next game.
Good night, Vienna. Yeah, he pushed him there, didn't he? Yeah, Coletta Carr, red car, and Murphy's waving to him. Murphy, that's absolutely brilliant, son. Giving him a little wave as he walks off the pitch, and that wasn't just a little wave. The Sky cameras picked that up, and he was waving for about 10 seconds, and Coletta Carr just wanted to chin him, but he took ASM. Basically, Coletta Carr took ASM out in mid-flight. He got a yellow card for it. It was ridiculous. He caught his right foot, and then after that, Bruno comes over and he pushed Bruno in the chest in front of the referee. Yeah. Bruno has also been booked for charging over by the looks of it. That's the only reason I think that he could have been he could have been booked maybe for coming over and getting involved in study sort of. But Murphy waving at him is something that'll get played time and time again. That could be made into that could well be made into a GIF. 87 minutes played. Newcastle, another free kick. Kieran Trippier, surprise, over it again. Isak in with Shaw in a huddle, got his hands over his mouth, whispering to him. Dan Burn got his hands on Bruno, telling him to behave himself, not to get himself into any trouble here because they don't want to lose him for the second half.
That's class.
Benderick is the man who is coming on, and we've got a player making way because obviously Southampton down to 10. It's Kyle Walker-Peters, who I've got to say has probably been their man of the match of the second half. Benderick is on, and he's straight into that defensive wall.
That's the first negative move they've made.
Yeah, Kyle Walker-Peters. It's because of the 10 men. They've had to do that.
Yeah,
they've had to do that. Yeah. Sadly for them, they've had to do that. They've now got to put a defender on and sacrifice it because what they can't afford is Newcastle getting another goal. Yeah, a lot of people looking at Kieran Trippier. Yeah, it's dead center of the goal. It's about 25. It's about 25, 30 yards out. This I've seen Kieran Trippier score from here before.
Yeah, from there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it could be Fabian Schär, as Mozza says.
Fabian
as well.
Schär, good call.
It could be. Let's see. They're both over the ball. Don't forget as well, Isak was in that little huddle before, but Trippier's going for it. He's took it. It's just gone over the right-hand side of the bar and lands in the front row of the Newcastle United fans. 88 minutes on the clock. And Southampton 0, Newcastle United 1. Semi-finals, Carabao Cup. And Kieran Trippier pulls his socks up, gets himself back into position as Sky advertised Notts Forest versus Manchester United tomorrow, 7 o'clock live on Sky as the other semi-final. But this game, for a 1-0, which it is at the moment, has been entertaining. Been a few chances for both teams, and we're coming up to 89 minutes. We'll find out in a minute's time how long we've got. ASM's got the ball, but he runs it out of play. And again, it's in the
ASM's head.
I don't know what on earth he's doing with his hair, but I'm not one to really be able to talk about hairstyles, am I? Let's face it. In fact, that goes for me, Donald, Barry, and George. None of us can really comment on that.
Well, hey, Steve, I ain't got much. I've got some.
I'm the same, like.
Some, but not much. It's feeding the two cul-de-sacs, the Brookside and the neighbours close there.
I've got a ball you patch on top.
Perhaps it's a problem with supporting Newcastle. You turn your bloody hair out all the time.
Yeah, I think so. The ball over the top again there, but it was behind Maximin, and that's that. Again, Adams created a few problems. Adams for the for Botman. Got a hold, grabbing him, holding him, nudging him, pushing him. Was a push in the back by Che Adams, and Botman went down on the ground, and then he's landed a little bit awkwardly on his arm, but everything's okay, and the free kick's been taken, and Newcastle have got possession over the halfway line. Joe Linton wide to ASM, who's hugging the touchline, plays a ball up the line to Isak, who's been the major threat since he came on, it has to be said. Done more in his 15-20 minutes than Wilson did. 5 minutes of injury time to be played, so not as long as we possibly thought it could have been. Frustrating game, but a cracking cup tie, says Andrew. It has been cracking, says Mozza.
Win's a win, the win's a win.
Yeah. Newcastle through in. Dan Burn gets the ball back from Joe Linton. Armstrong wins the goal kick. And he rolls the ball back to the keeper. Pleased to say that Adam Armstrong has stopped whinging now. And we've got 91 minutes just about on the clock now. Newcastle fans have got the tops off. That's it. It's warming up in Southampton. Three lads with their tops off. Pleased to say that they're all singing their hearts out for the lads. Great away end that. And haven't seen Steve Hasty or Keith Patterson or John in that little crowd. Bruno plays a long ball over the top. ASM plays it to the edge of the area. Bruno again out wide. Murphy hits the side netting, but at least it's in their half. Another great chance carved open there. Bruno with a lovely ball over the top. ASM pulled the ball right back. It was Longstaff who played the ball back to Bruno, who found Murphy on the right. Murphy then just took a shot, hit the side netting, and 91 and a half minutes on the clock.
The other thing about Longstaff, if he added a couple of goals to his game, he'd be worth millions more. He would.
He's got to work on it. Eddie Howe's talked about it. Said there's goals in there, so clearly, he knows. He knows the situation. He knows that Newcastle United, have had issues finding the back of the net. I've got to be honest. I mean, we all wanted to play in the FA Cup. We all wanted to have another cup run. That the Champions League positions being an extra bonus, the way that the league's starting to develop. But ultimately, I look at this now and think, at 1-0. And if it stays 1-0 and Newcastle go into this with a narrow lead into the second half, this week off is going to be, a good opportunity for Newcastle to look at set pieces, to look at scoring, look at scoring goals, get that little bit extra time in practicing shots. I'll stay with this again. ESM's got the ball on the left-hand side. He's cut inside again, lays it off to Bruno in the middle. Bruno taking his time.
Oh, Bruno.
Try to play the ball through to Murphy. Murphy wasn't on the same wavelength, didn't anticipate. But again, it's eating the time up, eating the time up. The clock is ticking away. Player of the match from Sky is Bruno. Duels, 15 successful passes, 44, dribbles 2, tackles 2. He is Sky's man of the match. We'll get the lads man of the match at the end. If I had another 8 inches, George, I'd be a porn star too, says Steve Middlemas.
Yeah.
Chris Banks says, with that haircut, ESM must have had a visit with Shearer. Very good, Chris. Chris, you need to do stand-up. Be nice if we could get another goal. Tom, we've got one. Bruno, man of the match, says Mozza. As Southampton push for one last opportunity to get level in this tie. And they have wasted it. It's gone straight back to Pope, who rolls the ball out to ESM, who forgets to take the ball with him, but regains it. He's off again. He's running past 1, past 2. Not sure what on earth he was doing.
Didn't he keep off his line, Steve, after he did that? Unlucky.
Yeah, he possibly saw the keeper off his line, as Darren suggests, but it clipped the back of one of the defenders and it just rolled back to the keeper. Nick Pope says, Steve, Longstaff, man, says Mother. Okay, 94 minutes on the clock, 1 minute to go, plus any additional from the referee.
What a ball.
Plays a wonderful ball through to Isak. Isak rounds the keeper, but he's wide, hits the side netting. Very difficult chance that. I'm afraid that would have been great, a great way to finish the game. But he didn't have the opportunity there. It was keeper. There was defenders back as well. Great ball by Bruno. Isak had made the run down that right hand side. He's clearly loves hugging that right hand side. And there was nothing. He beat the keeper, but there was three defenders all running towards the line. So ultimately that wasn't really a chance for Isak. But fair play, got into a position. Definitely a right-hand sided man. I think if there's anybody's place up for threat with Isak, it's got to be Almiron. If Almiron doesn't score goals in the next couple of games in the Premier League, I think we might say Isak playing or coming on for him and leaving Wilson on. I know Wilson's not looking happy about being taken off, but there is room for those two to play together. Salasu pulling Isak's shirt goes into the yellow card list for Southampton. Salasu doesn't look very sorry about it either. He's a big lump in. And now there's a fight developing against Salasu, Murphy in the thick of it again. I mean, he's probably about 12 or 13 stone wet through Murphy. He likes to get involved in these bits of bother. Referee's got his cards out again. Kieran Trippier's there, like a barrister, pleading for his client. What's going on here? Who's he booking now? He's walking away. He's got the cards out. He's put the cards away. He must have booked Salasu, and then there was a little bit of afters. Kieran Trippier's got a free kick anyway. 95.5 minutes on the clock. Bruno plays the free kick to Trippier. Trippier plays it into the box. Dangerous ball in, but cleared by the Southampton defenders.
It was
it. Full time. Newcastle United take a narrow 1-0 lead into the second leg of the semi-final. Isak's been outstanding since he's been on. Rob Oldgood, good evening, says some games should have been out of sight in the first half. Better get their act together for the home game, says Horrible Peter.
The man had to win.
Man of the match then. Barry, will come to you first.
I'm torn. I want to go for Isak. I think once he came on, he's played his heart out. Closely followed by Bruno. I think Bruno was there or thereabouts all the game, but Isak for me, he should have been on a lot earlier than he was.
Okay. What about you, Dunnell? Your man of the match, mate. You're on mute, Dunnell, so unmute before you speak.
Yeah, as I say, a shame he only got like a little bit the second half, but Isak definitely changed the dynamic of the game when he came on. He's running with the ball, and obviously the pass which led to the goal. So I would have to say Isak for me, and then a close second, as I say, Bruno. So yeah, that's Isak for me, absolutely.
Okay, Vin.
Like says it's Bruno for me. He just like says the way he controls it, nothing like the second half he was the ball through playing the two sides of him, the attack and the defending. He's just class. But Pope has to be close there as well. Them saves just to keep he's just there and just like it says was against Palace. Not see what a save that was. Had nothing to do most of the game, but he's always on it when he needs to be.
Yeah.
Like says so by like says Bruno for me, but Pope. Isak definitely he changed the game and all that, but for me like because all on the whole Bruno and then probably Pope, yeah.
Darren.
Obvious one, Bruno, but I think Nick Pope's had a good game today too. He's been solid all game, collecting a couple of good saves he's done. But Bruno for me.
Yeah, and George, obviously, you've been at a disadvantage, but just summing it up, George, winning 1-0 in an away tie in a semi-finals. That's what you have to do to get to the final.
Well, I am in a disadvantage, but it's amazing how I'm sitting here watching you reacting. The first half, it was Trippier. Trippier, by what you were saying, Trippier was outstanding in the first half. Then as the game wore on, Bruno started to take ascendancy in the middle. And then Isak came on, and he definitely made a difference. But throughout the game, Pope was sounded like he was doing everything that was asked of him and a little bit more. But I've got to say, if Sky are saying Bruno's the man of the match, I wouldn't argue with that because it sounded as though everything that was positive that I could hear you saying came out of Bruno until Isak came on.
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest. Outfield Bruno all day. He was superb today. Everything came through Bruno. Special mention to Nick Pope because Nick Pope did keep us in it some important saves today. And again, another masterclass, another performance, and another clean sheet. As always, thanks to everybody in the chat for keeping us company. We don't get much of a chance to do these very often, but it's been an absolute pleasure to share a semi-final evening. With George, with Darren, with Vince, with Dunnell, and with Barry, and with all of you in the chat. Thanks to the moderators who popped on, and a safe journey back to all of our fans, friends, and family who've been down to Southampton. And enjoy your pints tonight in the bars of Southampton. I'm sure you will. Have a safe one. I will be back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, with Geordie's here. Geordie's there. Look forward to seeing you then. Take care, guys.
Cheers, lad.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone. Cheers, everyone.